beautiful day here at Key Stadium on the south side of Indianapolis. Hello everybody and welcome in. I'm Nathaniel Finn sitting here with Caden Colford, and we have a great game in front of us. The 5-1 Indianapolis Greyhounds hosting the 4-3 Quincy Hawks. However, Caden, this Greyhounds team quite a bit underran today.
Definitely. They're down their QB1 and Connor Kinnett and an All-American and Toriana Clinton. And that's two key pieces to a high-powered offense, and we'll see how they cope today.
We'll see who fills that void from the best running back in the nation. He's probably out for the rest of the year. We're going to see guys like Lenny Bennett, Kellen Porter, Jaquan Buchanan come in and try to fill that role by committee. So it should be interesting to see how this game goes. Stay tuned. Let's go down to the sideline with Sydney Smith. Sydney, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Nathaniel and Caden. It is a beautiful day out here at Key Stadium, and it's a beautiful day for a victory at that. Last week, the Greyhounds had their first loss of the season. However, when we played Quincy last year, they had an impressive victory of 70-21 over Quincy. So hopefully they can repeat that again today, and it will be a beautiful day for that. So be sure to stay tuned to see the outcome of this game after this short break here on UINDY TV. Not mad at all.
Life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
All right, Grayson, do you have us? Welcome back here to Key Stadium, south side of Indianapolis. Nathaniel here with you with Caden Colford. You just heard from Sydney Smith. We appreciate that sideline report. And Caden, we've got a great game in front of us. Should be a pretty good GLVC matchup. Of course, the Greyhounds, we talked about it a little bit in the open. They're not at their full strength, so I'd be curious to see how this game goes.
Definitely. Toriana Clinton is an All-American, and he is an absolute game changer. And without him, you got to wonder what UND's offense is going to look like. A lot of it runs through him.
What do you think they're going to do without him? How are they going to replace that void?
Well, in his place, they have Lenny Bennett behind his quarterback, Christian Conkling. And Lenny Bennett's a pretty solid back himself, but the offensive line really needs to step up today and create those gaps, create those holes so Lenny Bennett can play his own game and get his thing going.
Well, as you see on the screen there, number 11, number 8, that is two of the top players for this Indianapolis offense. Connor Kinnett out for the year. Toriana Clinton likely out for the year, both of those foot injuries. Unfortunate to see for the Greyhounds, and we'll see if they can fill that void. The way that they've tried to fill this quarterback void is Christian Conkling, the senior quarterback from Pendleton Heights here in Anderson. Started his first game as a Greyhound last week, 23 of 38, 284 yards, which sounds good, right? But they were all empty yards. He only had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. That was kind of the story of the game. In the loss to Saginaw Valley State, they lost 38-14. What was a big game. That was their first loss of the season, and could be potentially crushing their hopes to host a playoff game here in a few weeks. But we'll see what we can get from Christian Conkling today. This is a much easier defense to go against in Saginaw Valley, the top 25 team in the nation. But we'll be curious to see how Christian Conkling can perform today.
And expect Quincy to send a lot of pressure his way. They know that he's not as experienced as other quarterbacks in this division, and expect to see 5-6 guys coming at him every single time.
As we await the Indianapolis kickoff team to come out here on the field, they're going to kick it off to Quincy. Again, these two teams, 9-1 is the all-time series. Quincy's never won here in Indianapolis, and last year when the Greyhounds traveled to Quincy, Illinois, that was a 70-21 finish where Indianapolis just ran all over Quincy's team. And what's kind of exciting here for this Indianapolis team. Of course, you lose maybe the best running back in the nation, but Lenny Bennett, the backup, he had 150 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns against the squad last year with Clinton healthy, so he shouldn't have too much trouble running against his team. At least he didn't last year.
Bennett is definitely on their scouting report and a guy they're watching on defense.
What do you think some keys to the game are here for this game today?
Well, like I said earlier, Quincy needs to send as much pressure as possible to Christian Conkling. He has a tendency to make rash decisions when he's under pressure, and that could lead to some turnovers for Quincy and possibly some points on the board. And then on the side of UINDY, like I said, that offensive line has to hold up. You can't count on Toriano Clinton to break 2 or 3 tackles every run, so those holes need to be there.
Granted, they have done a great job with those holes so far this year. We'll see if that will continue here or not. Here comes the opening kickoff. And it's a pretty high kick, a good one here for the Greyhounds. Goes into the end zone, and that's going to set up this Quincy offense for the first time today from the 25-yard line. We'll see how this opening kick can go. Opening drive here. Looking at some of the star players here for Quincy, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact here? Starting with the quarterback and Tiani Harris.
Tiani Harris is definitely a talented guy. He loves to throw the ball deep down the field, and I'd expect an air raid on this UINDY secondary today.
So far this year, 129 of 219. He had 1,844 passing yards with 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's had a very impressive year. Also can run the ball a little bit. 71 carries, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's going to start throwing off here in the middle of the field. It's a catch to start things off for Marlon Washington. Although the ball is on the ground here, they're going to say this is Indianapolis ball. Or what's going on here? It looked like they had signaled it. One referee on the far end signaled Indianapolis ball. The other referee says it's down. That's what we're going to go with. First down and 10 from the 41. A bunch formation. Here's a quick pass. That's another catch here, this time on the near side from Paul Sullivan Jr. And the Greyhounds are all over it. Look at that. Brandon Thomas and the 2 safeties and Mike Brown and Camonte Houston all over it.
And if they want to attack through the air today, that UINDY secondary needs to be on their toes.
Here's a second down and 10 from that 41. Going deep, he's good at this, and it's over the head of his wide receiver, just barely. Look at that, it was a pretty good throw after all, but incomplete.
But you can see there, he has an absolute cannon, and he's not scared to pull the trigger on those deep balls.
You see here the starters for Indianapolis. Let's go ahead and switch and check out the Greyhounds' defensive starters here. They've got a pretty good unit in front of them. Kyle Borski, Michael Dennison, Dylan Shelton, and Aaron Barnett are the front 4. Now back to the play. 3rd down and long. Here's a sack right away. This defense, I just talked about it. They can get to the quarterback, and they do here, and it looks like the ball's out. Still now a whole scrum. There's fighting going on here. Aaron Barnett's at the bottom of the pile just trying to fight for his own life. Everyone else is throwing on top of him.
And the pocket just collapsed right there, and the defensive end got a hand on the ball, smacked it out, and I think UINDY jumped on it.
So how about that? When your offense is a bit undermanned, let the defense come in and make a big play. Now we're going to see a very short field, sudden change for this Greyhounds offense. The ball's going to start on the 34-yard line here for the Greyhounds, and we'll see what this new-look offense holds. Jaquan Buchanan, the running back here to start in the place of Toriano Clinton. But again, we're going to see quite a few guys here in that position today. Conkling will see what he can do. Conkling out of the shotgun. He has to reposition his wide receivers to make it a legal play. Jeremiah Lee gets situated. Here's a catch out to Alonzo Derrick to start off the day for the offense. And how about that? The offense starting off strong with that Derrick reception. That's enough for a first.
And that's really great to see because you need Christian Conkling to get into a rhythm if you want to have decent offense in this game.
How do you think they can get him into a rhythm? How do they go about doing that?
Well, obviously you're not going to attack with deep balls right off the bat. I think when this team runs zones, there's definitely soft spots in the middle of the field and attack that.
First down and 10 inside the 25. Here's a first rush to Buchanan in his first start of the season, and he gets off to the races. How about that? Past the line to gain. That's a first down inside the 10 to the 8. Buchanan looks pretty good, and this offensive line, let me tell you, they are a great bunch.
There's some monsters, too. I feel like McDonald's should run a promo just for these guys.
The offense now set up with a first down and goal from the 8. Here's a big part of this game. Could get off to an early start, which is huge for this offense with some new faces in the huddle. Conkling's out of the gun. It's going to be another handoff. This time a sweep, and this time into the end zone. He walks in untouched. Jaquan Buchanan with no issues into the end zone for the first score of the day.
And if they can't stop it, why change it, right? That's the same play 2 times in a row with 2 great results.
We're going to see Colin Seymour come out here. That's the first rushing touchdown for Buchanan. And just like that, of course, you lose the best running back in the nation, but this offensive line is able to open up huge holes for Buchanan. Came into the game with just 7 carries, and we see here he gets 2, and they're 2 big ones. Here's Seymour with that PAT. It's successful. 7-0 the score when we return here on UINDY TV.
Things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Countdown when we come back. Back here in Indianapolis as the Greyhounds strike first, and what a way to start things off here, Caden. What did you like from that first drive for Indianapolis?
Well, the defense created the offense right there, put them in great position with the strip sack.
As far as the defense, you talked about that strip sack. Just such a great unit this year, and they've really been able to pick up the slack at times when the offense is struggling, and we saw it there. Pretty excited to see how this unit can develop through the rest of this game. We've only seen the first few plays of watching this elite defense. Here's the kick. It's going to be picked up here by the Hawks, and he gets upended right away. How about that? Kiave Guerriere gets the stop on special teams.
And while some might see the UINDY secondary as a weak link to this defense, those front 4 more than make up for it with the pressure they induce every single play.
And they do such a good job getting into the backfield. We saw it there with the strip sack. I'm sure we're going to see plenty more examples of that here soon. Here's the first down and 10 from the 21. And a quick toss goes incomplete. And how about this Quincy offense? They're a little bit undermanned today, right? Their top receiver, A.J. Harden, he is out, and he got injured in the game last week against McKendree. And, oh, my goodness, that was a great game. Went into overtime, was 63-62 the final score, but it came at a cost as Harden, their top receiver leading in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, is out for the count, and we'll see who can fill up his void. Here's a little pass into the flat. Heinz Wensnewski, he's the tight end, gets his 15th catch of the year. And right now it's 3rd down and 10. This is when the defense loves to operate, right? 3rd down and longs where they can just pin their ears back and rush after the quarterback.
Definitely, that's their strong suit. That's their strong suit, but the offensive line knows it's coming, so we'll see what happens.
An empty backfield. 3 receivers set, a wing back and a block. Here's Harris, nice floating pass that's in bounds for a catch and a first down. How about that? The catch went to Marlon Washington, his 21st reception of the year, and boy, that was impressive.
That really was a great find by Harris right there. He only had a small window to hit it through, and the wide receiver did a great job getting his feet down.
1st and 10, here's the hurry-up offense, trying to catch the defense off guard. They get a nice little run up the middle. Not a whole lot there for Tremaine Lee. And comes into this game, sorry to interrupt you, 113 carries for almost 600 yards and 7 touchdowns, a good player.
We've seen that hurry up a couple times now. They're really trying to dictate the pace of the game.
And they're doing it again here. It's going to be one of the keys to trying to take down this UINDY defense. That and air it out deep. We'll see if they can do that here as they go for a quick toss, and there's got to be a flag here, right? Brandon Thomas with lockdown coverage, and no flags fly. It was Washington, the intended target. Thomas came in and just locked him down. What do you think? Was there supposed to be a flag there?
I think the defender in that case was making a play on the ball, and I think there was mutual contact. So I think a no call, I think it's the right call there.
Here's a 3rd down and medium from that 31-yard line. Harris has been facing these 3rd and longs all game long. He's going to look to throw. The pressure starts to come. He can run if he wants to. Instead, he loses the ball, and it's a Jalen Wilson with that recovery. The Greyhounds get another recovery, this time a self-inflicted error from Harris.
And the defense is really, really making it a lot easier on their offense. They only have to go 25 yards or so on every drive. It's a lot easier to score points.
The ball is placed at the 23-yard line. You could not ask for better starting field position here if you're this UINDY offense. That's the key to success here, is these short fields, because the defense at this point, is, you could say, is even playing offense. You've got Conkling, bit underexperienced, like we talked about, only had one start and didn't look all too good. So giving him these short fields is going to be huge to getting his confidence boosted. He's set up with a 4-receiver set. Plenty of targets out there awaiting his throw. Buchanan's the running back. On a fresh set of downs, looking to throw. Plenty of time to the end zone. Rory Heltzley, and it's over his head and complete. It looked like he never really had a chance there on that play. So with that, we're going to see 2nd down and 10. And what do you think we're going to see here on this drive after that first pass went incomplete?
So we have...
We'll see what Lenny Bennett can do here at running back. 2nd and 10. Bennett's in a bit of a run formation. He'll take that handoff. Looks like there's some guys in the backfield. He navigates through traffic, ends up losing a yard. Bennett to the ground. They'll set up 3rd down and long.
And UINDY loves to run out of the shotgun, because the shotgun is usually referred to as a pass formation, but that run out of the shotgun almost creates a play action effect.
Especially with as much success as this passing offense has had throughout the season. Of course, Conkling, a new addition to the offense, so interesting to see how he can do. But this is obviously a team that has found success throwing to these receivers, and they have a whole bevy of them. Here's 4 on the field now, ready for this 3rd down and long. Bennett's in the block. Here's a quick pass, caught by Frank Bentley. Stays on his feet with the leg tackle, finally brings him down. Is this cornerback and Joel Graves. That's his 15th tackle on the year, and it's a big one here. That'll set up 4th down and short, and a decision here. Do you stay on, or do you try to kick the field goal?
I think the momentum's on your side right now if you're UINDY. I could see both decisions here, but I think going forward on 4th down would not be a bad decision at all.
Here's a 4th down and 3, trying to figure out the personnel they want on the field are the Greyhounds. Conkling is the quarterback. His running back is Jaquan Buchanan. Already has a touchdown in this game. Here's a big play, a sweep near side. Buchanan does it himself and races off for touchdown number 2. Jaquan Buchanan, my goodness, what more can you say? That one was all him.
And the Hawks even jumped the left side right there, but you see
Buchanan with a great rush, his 2nd touchdown rush of the day on 3 carries, and goodness, he's looked very good today, hasn't he, Caden?
Buchanan is speedy. Buchanan's getting around the left side of the offensive line really well, and the defense just can't keep up.
Colin Seymour here attempts this PAT and does so successfully. So when we come back, we'll talk about how the Greyhounds have started off to a 14-0 start. That's next here on UDTV.
Things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
How about this start for the Indianapolis offense? 14-0, and they're doing it on short fields. This defense, 2 fumble recoveries. It's been an all-around great game, and we're only 5 minutes into it.
Definitely, but you know that Quincy offense is frustrated right now. They've had 2 possessions that went no more than 15 yards each.
Their first drive was a 4-play, 16-yard drive. Second one was 6 plays and 14 yards, and both ended in fumbles here as we get the fair catch. That'll set up this drive at the 25-yard line. That's where the first drive started, and it didn't go too successfully. What do you think Quincy can do here on offense to finally mount a successful drive.
Well, Quincy hasn't implemented a run game at all, but then again, that's hard to do with a front four like UINDY, so it'd be interesting if they try to work in the backs here.
And they've got some talented ones here at running back. Quite a few guys who've seen a lot of run this year, starting with Tremaine Lee. We talked about him, the starter. He's over almost 600 yards on the year and 7 touchdowns, but they've got plenty of guys behind him that can run the rock too. Jalen Griffin, Miles Cheatham, Stephon Robertson, plenty of guys that have had touchdowns this year. Here's a handoff, actually a quarterback keeper. You talked about it, getting that run game going. They try, but to no avail. Back to the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Clay Schulte. Mike Brown in there as well. Harris out of the gun. We're going to see a lot of hurry up today. A lot of plays from this Quincy team. 4 wide. Here's a quick toss into the flat, caught. And how about that? Landry Mavungu levels him. Not a whole lot there for Paul Sullivan Jr. Coming off his best game of the year. 7 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown in that shootout against McKendree.
And Landry really showed off his range right there, coming all the way from the right hash to come get him.
A 3rd down already here early in this drive. Could they get another 3 now? The Greyhounds trying. Here's plenty of pressure. It's a screen pass caught for a 1st down. And that's been where this offense has excelled. Paul Sullivan Jr. with the reception, but going through the air, they've been able to find some room. It's just these costly errors that have cost them. But so far today, the pass game has worked. And this team comes into the game with 264 passing yards a game. Handoff this time up the middle with plenty of run, almost a 1st down. It's a gain of about 9. With that fresh set of downs. And with the carry was Miles Cheatham, his 10th of the year.
And this is what a steady run game does. A steady run game sets the pace for your offense and puts a lot of pressure on that front defensive line.
Back to the line of scrimmage, run formation. They do just that here with Cheatham, who is stopped originally, but the second effort gets him the 1st down. Move the chains to the 50-yard line. It's the first time this team's been in enemy territory. And again, this offense right back to the line of scrimmage. They're wasting no time between plays. It's already the 3rd drive of the game. Here's the handoff to Cheatham again. He's had a few straight, and it's worked because he gets a couple yards here on 1st down.
And we saw UINDY send a blitz, linebacker blitz in there. And blitzes on rundowns are really tough because they can leave gaps open for a running back to run straight through, leaving nobody to tackle him.
Lee back into the game for the Hawks. 1-1 in GLVC play, trying to move to 2-1 here. They get a quick slant. Off to the races goes the receiver, but Brandon Thomas brings him down. How about that reception from Marlon Washington? He has looked good today.
And Harris really stood strong there in the pocket. It collapsed around him. He didn't have a lot of time, but he made the accurate throw.
A new set of downs, this time knocking on the door of the red zone after Washington's big gain. Here's a quick handoff. Not a whole lot there, trying to navigate traffic. Give him about 6 yards on 1st down. Not a bad job to get into the red zone. Lee with a nice gain, and again, they're getting the run game going now, and I think this no-huddle offense is really working.
And I don't think the defense really expected that physicality.
The defense won the first 2 drives. They both led to points off the fumble recoveries, but now the Hawks trying to get back into this game. Another handoff. This time the draw up the middle. Lee pushes forward and gets enough, or not very close to enough for the 1st down. We'll see where they mark it. He's currently down at the 15.5-yard line. He needs to be at the 15 to pick up the 1st, so here's a 3rd down and 1. This is an offense that came into the game seeing a lot of 3rd down plays. They're 41 of 100 plays on 4th down. 3rd down, that is. Not a ton of success, less than half. Here's the handoff up the middle, though, and they don't get it originally. The pile tries to push him. He does not get enough. How about the defense holding strong? Benjamin Honeyus, the first guy in there. And now a decision. Do you want points, or do you want to try to go for it on 4th and short?
I think Quincy really needs to put points up on the board because if you come out of here with nothing, that's really a momentum killer. That's a morale killer, and that 3 is a whole lot better than 0.
Here's a 4th down and 1. I talked about their 3rd down numbers being at 41%. Their 4th down numbers are right at half, 9 of 18. They go for it a lot. They're going to do it here. It's Lee with the hand. No, quarterback keeper incomplete. The defense holds strong and gets a 3rd turnover, this time on downs. The offense will come out at the 19. Make it that 16-yard line.
The play design was solid there. Harris just threw the ball too low.
And now we've seen a lot, now 3 failed drives here for this offense. Quincy's not able to get a whole lot done. Is it because their offense is stalling or because this defense is just that good?
I think the defense is doing a great job, but Quincy is making their fair share of mistakes. They're just killing their momentum.
A 3-receiver set for this offense. Ethan Hand is the tight end at the bottom of the line of scrimmage. The handoff, no, quarterback toss goes to Derek. Derek meets a couple different defenders, and that'll get him enough for the first down. A gain of 10 for the first time of this drive. Not a bad way to start.
And that should be Conkling's bread and butter all game. Those flats, those slant routes, those open routes across the middle of the field.
For Derek, came into the game, team lead 24 receptions for 327 yards. Has a touchdown. That was a game winner back in week 4 against Ohio Dominican. Derek's in motion. Conkling looks to toss. He does just that over the middle of the field. Nice little floater to Gillum, who gets a catch. Keeps his foot in bounds and moves the chains at the 41-yard line. Marquez Gillum, this year 3 catches, 60 yards. That's his 4th one, and comes at a good time to move the chains. This offense looks hot to start out. You couldn't even tell if they're missing their top 2 players. Lenny Bennett's into the game again last year against this team in Quincy. Had 150 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. He's had no issues against this defense in his career. We'll see if he can continue that here with this rush. The stiff arm, but he's brought down right away, and this defense has had his number early. That's a gain of none.
And that's Peyton Chappell, one of the leaders of this defense.
Tell me a little bit more about Chappell. This year, his number 2 in Division II in solo tackles this year, 2nd in active leaders in total tackles as a career. He's just been a monster for this defense the last few years, and we'll see what the senior can do today. But again, number 2 in the nation in tackles right now. 2nd down and 10. Kellen Porter, the running back, in for the first time today, but it's a toss over the head of Alonzo Derrick. Looks like Derrick was pretty open there, just maybe a little bit off target.
Definitely. I think that Conkling was really feeling the pressure around him, and that inexperience kind of just gets in your head when you see a lot of those guys around you.
So now we have a 3rd down and 10. This is the first time this offense has faced this type of adversity. So far this year, 39% on 3rd down, not too successful. We'll see if they can convert this one. Oh, there's guys in the neutral zone. That'll make things easier if flags fly, but there are none. They're going to let this play continue to happen. 5 to snap. Conkling looks to throw. He's got pressure, and he's hit from his blind side. No one picked up the running defensive lineman. And how about that? Peyton Chappell, we just talked about him, came in and gets the sack.
Right on cue. Right on cue. He really is a ball hawk. He's so quick to the ball. Usually, he sits back more in coverage. He's more of a conservative defender right there, but through the design blitz, he gets the sack.
So now we'll see the punt team come out for the first time, and Ryan Zoller. We'll see Angel Ruiz back to return for the Hawks. He's all the way back at his 25-yard line, expecting a booming kick from Zoller. We'll see if that comes. And it sure does. A nice kick right to where he was anticipating. Start the drive at the 25, make it the 26-yard line. And we'll see what this offense can do here after they struggle the first 3 times. First 2 drives end in fumbles. And the 3rd drive ends on downs on a 4th and short. We'll see what they can do here. But what do you think they can do now that the first 3 drives have failed?
I think you go back to Tremaine Lee here. That 2nd drive, he really put on a clinic with his vision right there. He was hitting the holes hard. It just didn't pan out. And even at the end of that, they had the chance to put up 3, but elected to go for it on 4th, and it just didn't work.
1st and 10 as the backfield clears, trips to that far side of the screen. Here's a receiver in motion. It's going to be a quick toss, and they're going to throw the flag here, false start. So they had an interesting play design here. It obviously failed because of penalty here, but Anika McKenzie came running across. It's a bit of an end around. He could have elected to throw it in that position, or he could have taken it and run it himself, but regardless, it's going to be a loss of 5. Try it again, this time 1st and 15 from the 21. I'll be curious to see how creative this offense can get. Head coach Gary Bass and his offensive coordinator Caleb Bogart. Here's the toss over the middle of the field. Caught by the tight end, off to the running. He trying to catch up to him is Michael Brown, but how about this? Hans Wisniewski with one heck of a reception, his longest of the season, as he gets this Quincy offense rolling.
And there again, Harris showed off his pocket presence. He is fearless. He had 3 guys on top of him by the time that ball was caught.
A 56-yard reception from Hans Wisniewski. His previous long was 32. Here's a handoff. No quarterback. Toss over the middle of the field, incomplete. How about the defense from Landry Mavungu? Intended target was Marlon Washington.
Mavungu really picked the perfect time to jump that pass right there and almost came up with the interception. Even tipping it up right there, he almost caught it.
That'll set up a 2nd and 10. I'm sure the offense trying to catch a breather after that long catch and run from Hans Wisniewski. He came into the year with 14 catches, almost 200 yards.
And it seems to me like this Quincy offensive line really isn't keeping up with the pace of the hurry-up offense.
Harris 8 of 13 to start this game. He's going to hand the ball off here to Tremaine Lee. Not a whole lot there. Gain of, say, 4 on first down. Get him inside the red zone, though. It's pretty important. This offense in the red zone this year, 62% converting it to touchdowns. They're going to try to do that here after failing to the last drive.
And I still think Tremaine Lee is a number to call right here. He has been their one consistent source of offense.
Miles Cheatham in the game at running back. He had a touchdown last week against McKendree. He's going to get the carry. No, it's a fake. Over to the outside, enough for a first down. How about Anik McKenzie, who moves the chains? And this passing offense has done a great job converting first downs today. This is the Hawks' 7th first down of the game. Of course, hasn't resulted in points quite yet, but now they have a 1st and goal. Cheatham stays in the game. He gets the handoff. He takes it off and gets hit right away by this defensive line. But the second effort pushes him forward. Give him half of what he needs. Put him at the 5-yard line for 2nd and goal. They're going to say Clay Schulte got the tackle. Harris out of the gun. Another handoff to Cheatham. He pushes forward and is brought down right away by Aaron Barnett. Barnett this year, 30 tackles just about. Almost 7 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. He's having himself a good year. The redshirt sophomore from Fountain Central. Third and goal. This is a bend but don't break defense. They're going to try to do just that here. A big stop. Opportunity on 3rd down. 2 backs into the backfield. Harris out of the gun. It's going to be a quarterback keeper, an option on the near side, looking to throw, launches it to the back of the end zone, incomplete. Almost intercepted by Clay Schulte, it's incomplete. And do you try to go for 4th again? Again, this team does it quite often, but after failing to pick it up last time, I think they're going to kick the field goal.
It looks like they're bringing the field goal unit out, but that rash decision right there almost cost them an interception.
We'll see the punter and Bryce Broussard hold for the kicker and Drew Lenzen. It's going to be a 29-yard field goal. Here's the attempt. It goes in between the uprights and successful to get the first points on the board for the Hawks. 14-3 the score. We'll see UINDY's offense next. Back here at Key Stadium, and we'll see how this kickoff unit can do. And you got to feel pretty confident here if you're Quincy, because your offense has kind of struggled. Obviously, 2 quick touchdowns for Indianapolis, but a couple of things go their way, and all of a sudden it's a 14-14 game. Of course, they weren't able to convert on a couple crucial 3rd and 4th downs, but it seems like this this game's not out of reach, and it's still early, obviously. The end over end kick. Marquez Gillum gets this return, and he is off to the races. He's going to switch field position. Gillum, the fastest guy in the field. He's got 2 guys to beat. He's got Buchanan in front of him. Marquez Gillum cuts it back upfield and gets into pay dirt. Marquez Gillum into the end zone for 6.
And you said it best. He was the fastest man on the field. Nobody was touching him. He was off to the races.
An 88-yard kickoff return for Gillum, and I've been itching to see him return some more kicks all season. He didn't really start to get some run in the kickoff return team until 2 weeks ago, and obviously it's worked to a T.
And Gillum led the team last week with 113 all-purpose yards. So he's a great source of offense, a spark plug, if you will.
Just his 5th kickoff return of the year. He's been averaging 22 yards before that, but he gets that one for 88 yards. The PAT is successful from Colin Seymour. He remains perfect on the year in PATs, a good 31 of 31. Now the score is a bit more out of reach. We'll see what the Quincy offense can do here at Key Stadium.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
And it's Marquez Gillum who gets that kickoff return. 88 yards to get the kickoff team out here for Indianapolis, and that's the best form of offense, right, is your long kickoff returns, and it gives this defense a chance to get back on the field and show what they're made of.
We talked about how UINDY's offense was undermanned, but their defense and their special teams has really put them in great spots the entire game, and that's why they're up.
The kickoff, a booming one here that goes into the end zone over the head of the returner, and that's going to set up this offense at the 25 again. We've seen a lot of these drives start from around the 25, 26-yard line. Found some success finally, but it only resulted in 3 points. For Quincy to this point on offense, Harris is 9 of 15 for 129 yards. Has yet to throw a touchdown. We haven't seen a touchdown on the board yet for Quincy. On the ground, though, Cheatham has 5 carries for 19 yards. The starter, Lee, is 5 for 17. The run games seem to have a little bit of success. They're going to go to the pass game here early, though. Quick toss, caught for 5, wrestled down past the 30 to about the 37-yard line, or the 32, excuse me.
And even though last drive only ended in 3, they really started to mix up their plays. They incorporated a good run game, and that mix-up of plays is confusing the UINDY defense.
First catch of the day for Jalen Lawrence, the best receiver for this offense right now. Here's the toss out to the flat, caught for a first down and more, as Paul Sullivan Jr. gets a nice catch, but flags fly after the tackle.
I think he might have caught a face mask there.
So we got the first down from Quincy. We're probably going to see an extra few yards at the end of it. Couple flags went right where that tackle happened, so it seems like it's definitely against the Greyhounds defense. As you saw the pairing there a few moments ago of Tion Harris and Paul Sullivan Jr., they've been successful to this point. It is going to be a foul against Landry Mavungu. Look at him 15 yards from where the tackle happened. So put him in Greyhound territory at the 45-yard line, and now the offense set and ready to go before the chains are even set. The chains are still walking as they get this deep throw. Might not need the first down yard marker towards the end zone. Caught down at the 2. How about that? Tion Harris shows off his arm and throws it deep to Jalen Lawrence.
And Jalen Lawrence showed off his feet right there. He had him beat straight off the line of scrimmage. And Harris found him, put it right in the breadbasket for him.
Here's the handoff up the middle to Lee, but it's stopped right away by the Greyhounds defense. So you kind of see 2 levels of this defense, right? You've got the secondary, which struggles as we saw, and then that front 7, which is such a strength of this team. It's interesting to see how this offense has tried to attack both areas.
UINDY knows they want to attack the secondary.
We get down to triple zeros on the game clock. So with that, we'll step aside. Quarter number 2 next here at Key Stadium.
The Hounds are in the lead of 21-3 over Quincy at the end of this first quarter. Marquez Gilliam scored a touchdown in the last minutes of the quarter, making a great start to this game. Waquan Buchanan emerges as a new leader for the Hounds this quarter with all of the injuries prior to this game. Buchanan has scored 40 rushing yards and has scored 2 touchdowns for the Hounds, so we hope to see this energy continue into the second quarter. Be sure to stay tuned after the break on UINDY TV to see how the game progresses.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30, touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Holmes.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Here is the offense set up inside the 5 as the play is about to start. It's a handoff up the middle and stopped right away. How about that? The safety, Cavante Houston, prevents the touchdown from Lee. It's going to be a 3rd down and very short here at the goal line. They're going to go for it right away. How about this? Hurry up offense. Lee's the running back. Here's the quarterback. He's going to hand it off. Lee dives for the pile. He loses the football. Picked up for a touchdown. How about that? A touchdown. I don't know if it's going to go to the running back or to the tight end and Hans Wisniewski, but we can see here he picks it up and dives into the end zone. They are going to give the recovery into the end zone for Wisniewski.
Just how the coach drew it up, right?
I'm sure that's what they were planning. You're right. It looked like a good play design, though, as the running back and Tremaine Lee jumped over the pile, just was punched out. A testament to this defensive line, but not a whole lot you can do there on the recovery. Here's the kick in between the uprights, and now we've got ourselves a ball game. 21-10 the score, just a 2-score game, as we've got the kickoff unit for Quincy out on the field next here on UINDY TV.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Back here at Key Stadium is what an electric start to this game. The Greyhounds scored the first 21 points. It was Jaquan Buchanan with a couple of touchdown rushes, and then how about this, the field goal, and then that touchdown rush from Quincy, and obviously it was Hans Wisniewski who picked up the ball into the end zone. It's been a heck of a start here. One of those touchdowns came by the hands of Marquez Gilliam as he had a kickoff return. We'll see if he gets another chance here at that. You got to imagine, though, this kicking offense and Drew Lenson, they're going to try to get away from Gilliam.
I'd be very surprised if it's anywhere near him.
Gilliam currently stands at his 10-yard line on the near side, and it's going to be kicked right to him, actually. He's going to pick it up at the 11. Now we'll see what he can do for a second time today. He gets through the line of first defense and is brought down at the 31. Not a bad start for him. It wasn't a touchdown like his last return, but it went pretty far, and now we'll give this offense a good start from the 31.
And Conkling hasn't had to go the length of the field yet, so this will be a challenge. We'll see if he can really push the ball like he wants to.
The one time they were in their own territory, they were starting at the 16, and that was a 5-play drive that ended in a punt. So we'll see what happens here in that similar situation. Obviously, they found success on the short field Started a drive at the 34 and 23, respectively, of Quincy, but this time, like you mentioned, going to have to go to the length of the field. We'll see what he can do with about 70 green yards in front of him. It's going to start off with a handoff to Buchanan, a quick little trip, and he pushes forward for a gain of 4. Get him to the 35. He'll be brought down by Peyton Plunkett. Top 15 in the nation in tackles for a loss. That one did go for a few. Plunkett gets a nice tackle there. That was the 26th of the season. Buchanan in the back. 3 receivers set. Looking to throw. The pressure comes. Kennett shakes it off, tosses it for a reception, and Kamau Ransom gets the first down before he's finally brought down.
And we've been talking about his inexperience, but that was high IQ right there. That was great pocket presence for someone that hasn't really had to undergo much of that.
Sharon Cunningham does a nice job to get that reception and move forward, or rather get the tackle to keep any more yardage from Kamau Ransom. First and 10, 42-yard line. Looking to throw. This time he's got time. He is hit eventually, and look at that one-handed catch from Ransom. He stays on his feet. The tank Kamau Ransom inside the 30. The freshman receiver came in with high hopes for this offense, and he comes in guns a-blazing with that reception.
Kamau Ransom, I love this kid. He is so talented. He has the body. He's smart, and you saw it right there. He has the hands. This guy is a highly touted recruit, and obviously he can make an immediate impact on any offense.
He started hot this season, 6 catches for 66 yards and 3 touchdowns in those first 3 weeks, but hasn't had any receptions since then until now, and it's a big one, 2 straight for first downs. Here's another first and 10. Handoff goes to Buchanan, who cuts it up, but this defensive line holds tight, only gives him 2 yards. Get him over to the 27-yard line. With the tackle was Cole Schnedt-Gecke. Second down and 8 for this offense. Kellen Porter in. The game has yet to see a rush this game. So far this year, 22 carries for Porter. Fake handoff, now with the pressure, rolling out. Conkling to throw on the run. It's a catch from McNeilis, who races in towards the end zone, but will be downed at the 1-yard line. A 26-yard reception to get within a yard of pay dirt.
And Conkling is pushing the ball up the field. He's been showing off some mobility. He's been showing off pocket presence. He's been showing off accuracy. All things that you want to see in your quarterback.
A very impressive toss with pressure behind him. Had to make the toss across his body. Man, that was a high-level throw.
I've been very impressed with his decision-making, too.
A big decision here on first down and 10. Buchanan, the running back. Bit of a run formation with some extra tight ends. In motion is McNeilis. It'll be a rollout. This play saw a touchdown last week. We'll see if they can continue, and they do. Wide open, untouched. That's the 3rd touchdown of the game for Jaquan Buchanan. 2 on the ground, 1 through the air, 6 on the board, 27-10.
And you can see it. Give the offensive line a lot of props here. Conkling had all day to throw. And, of course, it was Jaquan Buchanan that secured the grab.
He is having an impressive day for Indianapolis. Came into the year just with 7 carries and 3 receptions. Had not scored a touchdown to this point. And he has 3 all of a sudden, filling those shoes of Toriano Clinton nicely.
And we both know those are not easy shoes to fill at all.
The PAT successful from Colin Seymour. And with that, suddenly it's a big game for Indianapolis. 28-10, the number 20th ranked Greyhounds ahead on the scoreboard here early.
Champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
That drive, 6 plays, just under 70 yards with 3 minutes elapsed off the board, and it was a Jaquan Buchanan 1-yard pass from Conkling. How about Christian Conkling? Last week came in, was his first start as a Greyhound. Of course, he had to fill the shoes of Connor Kennett, who suffered a season-ending injury, and he looked really poor last week. Threw 4 interceptions. Of course, it was against a great Saginaw Valley State defense, but today he has looked like a new man coming, slinging the ball around. We saw that great pass that set up the ball at the 1-yard line, and another great one, great vision to get it into the end zone. Here's the kickoff. It's going to be fair caught by this Quincy team. And we'll see the ball start at the 25. So now the offense is playing from behind for Quincy. We're going to see this quite a bit today, as you can imagine. We'll see what they can do here. Do you abandon the run game and just go to the passing game, try to attack the secondary, or do you try to keep a balanced offense here in the second?
I think they've been doing a really great job mixing up their schemes, throwing different looks at the UINDY defense. When you attack the same area too much, it becomes too easy to guard, and by switching from run to pass, it allows your offense, that creativity really puts a lot of pressure on every man of the defense.
An underrated part of that is it's going to keep the defense from just having to pin their ears back and run to the quarterback. If you can get a run game going, it'll help your pass game and keep the pressure off of Tion Harris. Harris sends a guy in motion. It'll be a handoff up the middle to Miles Cheatham, but he cannot find much there. The defensive line holds steady. A gain of none on first down. Get him back to the 25. So far today, not a lot on the ground, just 25 rushing yards that this defense has allowed. This time the backfield empties, looking to toss with pressure, throws it incomplete. Mavungu in on the coverage, trying to look for some flags. Was Jalen Lawrence the intended target, but nothing there. Lawrence had a great day last week against McKendree, 6 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown, but they're nothing as this defense in the secondary of Landry Mavungu holds strong. Third down and 10. After a gain of none on first down and an incomplete on second down from the 25. Harris takes a snap but whistles below this play dead. There's laundry on the field. We'll see what it is. It'll be a false start for the wide receiver. They're going to mark it against Marlon Washington. So moving back 5, and now we'll see this offense on a third down and 15 from the 20. A bit harder this play becomes. Looking to throw towards the boundary, just out of reach of his streaking receiver, incomplete. Boy, that would have been a huge gain from Jalen Lawrence. Could have made it into the end zone if the throw was a little bit more on target, but the deep pass goes incomplete and the punt team comes on. However, look at this, there's a flag on the play. That's going to be an automatic first down. It's going to be a roughing the passer. That is huge. Instead of the punt team coming out, backed up near their own end zone, we're going to see an automatic first down and a 15-yard penalty.
And it's critical mistakes like that that come back to bite you at the end of the game.
This team has not faced too many penalties so far this year. The Greyhounds only penalized 6 times for 60 yards a game. Here's a quick toss. Enough for the slant for the first down. Decked by Clay Schulte and Cavante Houston, but a reception successful for Marlon Washington. That's Washington's 5th catch of the day. 65 yards. That'll be enough to move the chains. 49-yard line on the Quincy side of things. Looking to throw. Launches it deep and well over the head of his receiver, incomplete. Was intending that one for Washington.
And it looked to me that Washington wasn't expecting that ball. That might have been a line of scrimmage decision made there by Harris.
Second down and 10 coming up for the Hawks. Ball spotted at your own 49-yard line.
Second down and long. Harris is going to be out of the shotgun. That's where they're going to operate for most of this day, as the officials stop the clock here and try to figure things out. They're going to get things back going. Harris, the quarterback, He'll fake the handoff, quick toss, caught towards the flat, a big hit, sends him out of bounds. Cavante Houston halts his momentum. It'll be a gain of about 4 to the 47 of Indianapolis, but now it sets up a 3rd down and medium and a big one.
One thing I will say, Harris has done a great job of finding the soft spots in these zones. He's really making great decisions here, and he's pushing the ball up the field with help from a UINDY penalty, of course.
3rd down and 6, empty backfield, pressure comes, Harris, incomplete. No, intercepted by Mike Brown. That's going to be an interception and the 3rd turnover for this defense. Only the 8th interception thrown this year from Tion Harris, but Michael Brown, what a catch he had as he gets his 2nd pick of the year, as you see here on that replay. And he gets up and celebrates.
And just as I was bragging on his decision-making, he makes one of the worst possible decisions he could have made there on that play. And Brown just happened to be in the right spot at the right time and made a great play.
This has been a great start to the day for Indianapolis, seemingly doing everything they want on offense, defense, and special teams, and round to this 18-point lead. From the 32, Conkling, 1st down and 10. About the same spot they started the last drive, which ended in a touchdown. Conkling is going to step up, throw it towards the middle of the field, incomplete. Threw it into quadruple coverage, and here comes the flags. The intended target was Marquez Gillum. I probably wouldn't have thrown the ball if that was me, but we'll see what this flag is. The defensive pass interference we see there. That'll set up an automatic 1st down. The spot foul will put this ball at about the 41-yard line. That's where the flag dropped at least. We'll see if that's where they're going to move in the ball. They'll put it down at the 42 officially. So the Greyhounds, of course, is on 3rd and long, but gave the Quincy offense a free 1st down, and now the defense of the Hawks returns the favor. From the 42, a fresh set of downs. Looking to throw, caught, quick slant by Rory Heltzley, and he gains 7 yards. Put him at the 48.
Pass completed is your number 80, that's Rory Heltzley.
Heltzley making a good play there, and this receiving corps is so deep. He's probably 5th, 6th, maybe 7th on the depth chart, but still coming and making great plays.
And they're all consistent too. They're all unique in their own ways, but they all have great hands and they're all smart.
Logan Caney seeing some run here as well out of the slot. Hasn't seen a ton this season. McNeil's a tight end in motion. 2nd and short from the 48. It's a sweep to the near side with Lenny Bennett, who cuts it upfield and is hit hard as he loses 2 yards. And Bennett has not found any success today. So far, 3 carries for a loss of 2, which is a big contrast from his game against Quincy last year. Seems like this defense just hasn't figured out.
He was definitely on the scouting report after their game last year. I mean, that was a career game for him last year, 150 yards. That's no little deal. That's great running, and you can see that the game plan for him here.
And the Hounds, maybe a little bit of gamesmanship coming into this game. They kept Toriano Clinton at the top of their depth chart. Coach Bass and this Quincy team thought they were going to be going up against Toriano. Of course, he was ruled out at the beginning of the week, but the Hounds trying to keep that a secret. They sure did, and here it seems like they haven't missed a beat, though, trying to defend the run when it comes to Bennett. However, obviously, Buchanan's had plenty. He's got 5 carries for 45 yards and 2 touchdowns. Timeout on the field. We'll take one with them. Return next. It's a 28-10 ball game. A big 3rd down and 6 here for this Indianapolis offense. Quincy trying to get their offense back on the field and get back into this game with the Greyhounds, see what they can do here on 3rd and medium. What do you think we're going to see here? Run, pass?
I think their pass offense has been, it's been off and on today. The deep ball, if it was spotted better, that could be a game changer.
Conkling has completed 9 of his first 11 passes today, over 100 yards and a touchdown. That one went to Jaquan Buchanan, who's in the game right now at running back. Derek goes in motion from the receiver position. He's going to look Alonzo Derrick's way. He gets the reception for the first down and more. Cuts it upfield. Look at this. He's going to keep his feet in bounds. Gets past the 40.
And
about a 15-yard catch.
You saw that quick stop by Zoe there, really showing off his footwork, showing off that agility. And that's what separates him from other wide receivers.
To the 39-yard line of the Hawks, and Derrick came into the year leading the team again in receptions and yards, although that's not a big mark as this offense loves to spread the ball around to multiple guys. They've got probably 7, 8 guys they're comfortable with here. But he's been the lead of all of them, and he's done a good job being that leader in the locker room as well. Here's Buchanan, turns on the Jets and tries to keep his feet going, only gains a yard, gets him to the 38. Brought down by a couple of Hawks, one of which looked like Joseph Webb.
Second down and 9 coming up for UINDY.
Greyhounds with the second down and long now. See if the offense can keep the momentum going. A run formation, Lenny Bennett's the back. He gets the handoff, he pushes forward, and here's his longest run of the day. He gets past the chains. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line, and now Bennett finally finds some life.
That could be an icebreaker. That could be a spark plug for him. Sometimes, just like a basketball player, sometimes you just see the ball go through the hoop one time. Just a chunk run like that could have a lot to do, a great benefit to your mental, to the mental side of football.
Here's a first down and 10. Kennett's got Bennett with him. 3 receivers set. Faking the handoff to Bennett. Plenty of time here to go deep, and he does just that to the end zone. And a catch for Alonzo Derrick. His second touchdown of the year, first of the day. Increased the score by 6. The floodgates open here on offense, and look at that beautiful throw.
And that was a design double move by Zoe right there. And he even got bumped trying to make that move, so being able to stay with the play and make that catch, that's amazing.
Doug Hogg comes in to long snap. It's a 27-yard touchdown. It's KJ Raudebusch in to hold for Colin Seymour. Has yet to find any resistance on PATs this year. Came in 28 of 28. He's hit 4 since then. Here's his 5th chance. PAT between the uprights. 35-10. The Hounds won this matchup last year 70-21. And it's looking like they're trying to replicate that. 35-10 the scores. The Hounds are the big lead. Kickoff team next. The drive that was a 6-play drive, 68 yards, took 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Basically the exact same way that the drive before it went for Indianapolis. And they're just able to march down the field, having no resistance with this defense and getting into the end zone yet again. Their 5th touchdown of the day. For Conkling, his 2nd passing touchdown of the afternoon. Came into the game with 2 touchdowns, one in the opener in garbage time, one last week also in garbage time. Is now the fair catch successful by the returner there for the Hawks, Anik McKenzie. Now we'll see the drive start. Not much more to say here for the Greyhounds offense, and likewise the defense is playing very well. Also, Chris Keevers has this unit coached up very impressively.
And this Quincy offense is taking the field now. Has had some high points, but it seems like every time that they get where they want to be, they shoot themselves in the foot with an unwanted penalty or an unnecessary interception. It's bad decisions.
Harris already has 200 passing yards on the day. He's currently standing in an empty backfield. He's had an impressive day passing, but again, these have all been empty yards. Did throw an interception, no touchdowns yet. He's going to run it today as he loses his helmet. Takes a big shot as Harris gains maybe a yard. He's going to have to exit the game for at least a play, if not more. It is, of course, per rule, you lose your helmet, you sit out for a play. They're going to have to bring in someone either out of the Wildcat or a backup quarterback in. Waiting for the 11th man to come into the game. Who's it going to be? There's only 10 on right now, and here he comes. Just for one play will come in Michael Valdinos, the backup quarterback from Avondale, Arizona. 2nd and 9 from the 26. Just a handoff up the middle, but this run defense, of course, knew it would be a handoff. The backup quarterback comes in, and they stuff it right away. No light for Tremaine Lee.
Loss on the play.
That's been a theme today. Less than 3 yards a carry for him.
3rd down and 10 coming up for the Hawks.
And Quincy's had successful drives when they've pushed the ball down the field on the ground. And that run game has really set up their passing.
Third down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Empty backfield. 5 guys looking to receive this pass. One of them does. It's a tight end who moves forward and gets a nice little gain. That's Hans Wisniewski. Gets the first down and more, and he's having himself a good game today. Or rather, give that to Angel Ruiz, the transfer from Arizona State University. Had a good game against UINDY last year. Caden 4 receptions for 68 yards and a touchdown. He's come in limited work and played pretty well. He's currently lined up at the top of your screen. Tremaine Lee, the running back. Here's a quick toss. Caught for another first down, and now the offense, no, it's an incomplete. The slant ruled incomplete. Going for that reception was Paul Sullivan, but he drops it.
And that was another good play design there. They're really reacting to the pressure well. Harris is making pretty solid decisions on this drive, but then again, that's just another shot in the foot. That's a pass that should be caught.
Here's a quick pass into the slant. Quick screen goes for just a couple as the defense all over that one. Sullivan Jr. brought down by Cavante Houston, and that'll set up a big 3rd down and medium in the waning moments here of the 2nd quarter.
Clay Schulte also went on that tackle, did a great job of getting off his block and getting to the ball.
Empty backfield for Tion Harris. The pressure comes, tosses it, caught for a first down and more. A lot of first downs here for this offense as he gets to midfield. A tussle there on the outside as we saw Angel Ruiz get a reception, and Brandon Thomas brought him down. Yet another first down here for this Quincy offense. So far today, they've had 14 of those. Here's a handoff up the middle. No life there is this defense. How about that? Jacob Jones, along with a few other Greyhounds, to make the stop.
And this offense started to gain some traction. They wanted to put some pressure on the UINDY defense by going hurry up. But that hurry up hasn't really been on their squad this game. The UINDY defense has really reacted well to it.
Reminds me a lot of Indiana's offense. I'll tell you about that here in a moment as we get the quick little toss out to the outside, incomplete. Bringing him down to the ground was Brandon Thomas. The pass was intended for Marlon Washington, but Indiana, one of the top teams in Division I when it comes to pace of play. They run a lot of plays, and it just seems to be empty. Obviously, against Rutgers today, they got the loss after starting out 14-0, but it's just an offense that seems to run too many plays, and they're too out of sorts here when they're coming up here without huddling. Here's a 3rd and 11 from the 49 on Quincy's side of the 50. Harris looks to toss. Quick little incomplete pass as Mavungu gets his hand out, makes a great play. In on the coverage from Marlon Washington.
And then there again, miscommunication. That wide receiver had no idea the ball was coming his direction.
Going in deep for the Hounds, Alonzo Derrick and Marquise Gilliam.
We've got 2 punt returns back for Indianapolis, Derrick and Gillum. Gillum, of course, with that return touchdown of 88 yards. Here's the punt. It's a nice one by Bryce Broussard, and it'll go into the end zone for a touchback.
And Broussard's punt
A little too strong. Of course, when you're punting the ball, you want to try to get inside the 10, but here a flag flies.
And
some extracurriculars. We'll see what the call is before this offense comes onto the field. If it stands as nothing, they'd start at the 25, but we'll see what this call is going to be. It's probably going to move it.
Get yours at imcu.com.
The men in stripes are going to discuss this one.
Personal foul. Number 7 of the return team. Personal foul. Number 3 of the kicking team. Those penalties offset. First down.
Offsetting penalties, personal fouls from both sides, and this is not a rivalry, you'd say, but this has been a chippy game, even from the very first play. These guys have been fighting a lot of extracurricular activities, and that includes there. No penalties as they both get wiped away, but we'll continue to watch that as we move forward. It's going to be down at the 20-yard line. Just a lot of high emotions here from these teams, Caden.
And after coming off a game like last year where you get beat that bad, a lot of teams take that as an insult. So they definitely came into today with a chip on their shoulder, and to play like this, be down 25 points, it's not easy.
3 receivers set in the tight end for Christian Conkling and Jaquan Buchanan. A fresh set of downs. The start to the drive after the punt went to the back of the end zone. Buchanan gets the sweep to the far side, and this Hawks defense get all over it. It'll gain just a yard. Buchanan today 7 carries for 47 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He's played very admirably, but nothing there. We'll switch tight ends as McNeil heads to the bench and Ethan Hand, the big blocker, comes in. Might we see another rush here with Hand in the game? The starter's in at receiver. Hand's gonna move in motion. 2nd and long, here's Conkling. Faking the handoff, pressure comes. Look at that block from the running back. Flags fly though, and Conkling's gonna take it himself. He doesn't see the flag. He's gonna stay in bounds all the way to the 47-yard line. I think this is gonna be an illegal block against Jaquan Buchanan. It will be, it's a holding. Not against Buchanan, he had a good play there, but it'll actually go against the Greyhounds left guard and Kednall Alexis. The junior from Lawrence North, the first team All-GOV selection last year, and he gets popped with the holding. That's going to negate that big rush. Would have been the biggest rush of the year from Christian Conkling. And how big is that? Would have been all the way out almost to midfield. Instead, they're going to start inside the 20. How much of a difference does one play like that make?
The Quincy defense really jumped on him there, and the offensive line they were on their heels, frankly, and to miss out on a play like that, especially with the lane he had, it's a morale killer.
2nd and 19 at the 11 instead of a 1st and 10 at the 47. Big difference here, looking to toss. Over the middle of the field, caught, and on the run is Alonzo Derrick. He gets to midfield and more. 2 guys to beat, trying to get caught up from behind, and he finally does. But how about Alonzo Derrick? What a reception by him. Finally bringing him down for the Quincy defense was Melvin Brock, and he saved the touchdown.
A great run and a great throw. Conkling had to throw over two linebackers right there to get to Zoe, and he did it perfectly.
Alonzo Derrick with a 68-yard reception, and suddenly you forget about the holding call. Wide open was he in the middle of the field and off to the races. Alonzo Derrick shows off his speed. The sophomore from Fort Wayne Snyder had the touchdown earlier this game. Jeremiah Lee in motion. It'll be a sweep to him. He's going to take it himself and gets past the line to gain inside the 10 for a first. Lee with his first rush of the day.
Jeremiah Lee's one of those guys in the depth chart that's really explosive, you know. He's not the biggest guy, but he's really fast, he's really agile, and on jet sweeps like that, he can make big plays.
Bennett's the running back. Had 3 touchdowns last season against this team, trying to find one here in the red area. 1st and 10 from the 11. Handoff goes to Bennett. He's going to navigate traffic, but to no avail. This defense, ball hawking, get him down for a gain of 1. Just nothing here for Bennett. That's his 5th carry, just 10 yards.
One thing I will say about UIndy, in the red zone, they have a multitude of ways that they like to attack you and score. They have numerous wide receivers and running backs with touchdowns this year, and they like to get their tight ends involved too. So you just never know where the ball is going to go.
The big bodies and Heltzley and Ransom on the outside. Jeremiah Lee in the slot. Buchanan, the running back, is going to go out and run a route, looking to throw. Rolling out. Here is Conkling to the end zone for a touchdown. The one man I didn't read pre-snap was Kevin McNeilis, the tight end, and he gets a touchdown. His second in as many weeks. Add 6 more to the board. It's 41-10.
And you saw Conkling. He looks comfortable outside the pocket, and his decision-making has been really good. And the offensive line has given the receivers a lot of time to develop their routes and get open.
I can't wait to hear what head coach Chris Keevers has to say about this blowout in the first half. We'll hear from him at the end of this half as Sidney Smith going to have a conversation with him down on the field. That'll be here in 55 game seconds. Seymour, who is 5 of 5 today, kicks this one between the uprights. It is successful, 42-10. What a score here for the Greyhounds. The defense has to hold up for just a minute. We'll see if they can do that here next at Key Stadium.
Lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
A 6-play drive, ending in a touchdown for Indianapolis as Christian Conkling finds Kevin McNeilis in the back end of the end zone. McNeilis hasn't found a ton of success this year, hasn't really seen a lot of run. Only 3 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown last week against SVSU. That was his best day. Catches his 2nd touchdown of the season, though, and he's looked pretty impressive. To kick off will be Carter Ward from Columbus North. He gets this kick, a high one. Good-looking kick. Will be returnable. Here's we see a big hit. How about that? Kiave Guerriere levels the kickoff returner, and he's going to be a little bit slow to get up. With that return, we saw for Quincy, Anik McKenzie, but nothing there for him.
He made that tackle in the weight room right there. He picked up a grown man and put him on the ground.
And he gets up and flexes over him. A pretty impressive stop on special teams for maybe one of the team's best linebackers. They've got a few good ones. Guerriere's going to come out on the field and see if he can use that moxie and get this defense riled up for the final 51 seconds of the first half. Trying to find something here on offense. It's going to be a 3-receiver set. Quick toss. Caught by the 25 in the turf. Monster gets the receiver here. The clock's going to continue to roll. Just a gain of a few from Paul Sullivan Jr. Give him a gain of 6. 26-yard line. Harris. Handoff. Up the middle is Lee. The clock's going to roll with about 20 seconds to go. Maybe one more shot for this offense. If not, they're going to let it roll all the way down and head into halftime. Looks like they're going to elect to let the final 10 seconds and change roll off the clock. So with that, Indianapolis, what a first half they had. 42-10 the score here. Here in just a few moments, we're going to go down to Sidney Smith with an interview with head coach Chris Keevers. But how about the Greyhounds? They started things off early with 2 rushing touchdowns from Jaquan Buchanan. And then we saw a kickoff return for a touchdown, 88 yards from Marquez Gillum. A field goal from Drew Lenzen. That gave the fight here early for Quincy. And then we saw a touchdown as Tremaine Lee had a rush up the middle for a yard. And that got the 10 points that we see on the board for the visitors here. But for Indianapolis, Christian Conkling, 3 touchdown receptions at the end of this game. Let's go down to Sidney.
We are down here at Key Stadium with Coach Chris Keevers. A lot of people have underestimated UINDY with all of the injuries prior to this game, but the Hounds still have the lead over Quincy with a score of 42-10. What do you think you did to motivate your team, and what do you say for your team taking this great lead?
Well, I tell you what, our kids are they're workers. They're not kids; they're grown men. They're workers, and they're a lot of pride in what we do. Okay, we had a bad game, and we were not going to. You know, that was something we were going to. It was going to. It's over with. We're done with it. We're going to move on. And we said that. The kids worked all week, and good things happen when you work all week.
Absolutely, and you can definitely see that here today with our score right now. How do you think you're going to keep up this momentum into the second half?
You know, it's just we're going to go in there and get them fired up again. We're going to go in there and get them fired up, and we're going to come out and play. I mean, that's what we do. We like to play. Our kids work hard, and good things happen when you work hard, just like I said.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will be back after this short break here on UINDY TV.
in life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30, touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Holmes.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours. In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Well, it's so many memories, I would say. I think the things that when my teammates and I get together, what we enjoy the most, I think, are just all the stories, all the things that happen between us playing against some of the best schools. You know, we played some Division I schools. We beat Eastern Illinois twice. A thrill for a Division II school to go in and to beat a Division I school. And I think we remember, you know, feeling like kind of the David versus Goliath. And that's what I think we realized, if you can come together as a group, you know, that you can have success. Well, I think any competitive person, it's tough. But I still look at it today. You know, it's been 30 years since I played competitive basketball, and in the business world and the education world, you lose, and things happen, and you go back to your playing days, and you got knocked down, and you got to get back up. So that was kind of our mantra. I think to have dreams. I just, as a little kid, I had dreams that I wanted to do something athletically, you know, and basketball was my passion. And so I don't care what it is, do something that you like, that you're passionate about. That to me is the most important thing, and then work to achieve it. And if you work hard enough at it, I think your dreams can come true, even when people tell you it'll never happen. And that to me was kind of the David versus Goliath thing. Yeah, and it's a cliche, but I do think life is a game. Life is a competition. And I think I was prepared because I competed in college, and I say the same thing to people. You kind of those same attributes. You have to work hard, you have to practice what you want to do, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to have those dreams, and you put that package together, and I think it's a pretty good package for success. Hi, I'm Larry Tucker. I'm a former NCAA student athlete from Lewis University.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
I am an NCAA student athlete, and I pledge to be a champion of unity on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to stand against all forces of division and separation. I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination. I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity. I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt. I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy. I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all. I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United.
Welcome back here. Half number 2 set to get upon us here in just a few moments at King Stadium. I'm Nathaniel Finch. With me here is Katie Colford. Down on the sideline is Sydney Smith. We'll get to her in a little bit. But for Indianapolis, 42-10 is the score at halftime. 2 touchdowns on the ground from Jaquan Buchanan, 3 touchdowns in the air from the young quarterback Christian Conkling. It's been dominating performance here from Indianapolis. What can Quincy do to get back in this game after just 10 points on the board?
Well, first off, it's been way too easy for Christian Conkling all game. He's had way too much time in the pocket to make reads and make good decisions. And from now on, defense has to send the pressure, has to send the dogs each and every play. Got to put some people in his face. And then on offense, we need to get back to the run game. Once you develop a run game, it's a whole lot easier for those wide receivers to get open. It's a whole lot more pressure put on the UINDY defense.
More on that here in just 30 seconds on UINDY TV.
Keep those yard numbers low, but it's definitely offensively been pretty close, right? It's just the fact that the Greyhounds have had shorter fields and finished drives. That's kind of the opposite for Quincy. The defense for Indianapolis giving them long fields and keeping them from being able to get these drives.
And it's really been a great example of the true value that special teams holds in football. Special teams wins games, and a lot of winning coaches will tell you that. And on top of that, after losing 2 of their best guys, this UINDY team feels that they're elite. And a trademark of elite teams is how they adapt to situations, how they adapt to adversity, and I think they've done a great job here tonight.
Looking at some individual numbers here, we talked about how Buchanan had himself a good day rushing. Started out on the ground with those 2 rushing touchdowns on short fields, which obviously helps things, but taking a look at the rest of his numbers in that first half, he only had 7 carries, but it was good for 47 yards and 2 first-half rushing touchdowns. Bennett was 5 for 12 on the ground. We saw Christian Conkling. What a day he's had. 13 of 15, 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's looked like a Harlan Hill candidate here in just 1 half of play, and it's because his defense is not giving much resistance.
Definitely, and his supporting cast, his offensive line, or supporting cast, I should say, his offensive linemen, his receivers have done their job so well, and he's making all the right decisions so far.
As far as the offense and the setup here for Quincy, we've seen quite a bit of passing yards from Tion Harris. 18 of 31 is he, 234 yards, and 1 interception. Is yet to throw a touchdown, and it's just been kind of a long day for him. The pressure's come. He's had some self-inflicted mistakes just from the pressure that he's seen in front of him, and it's been a long day for Harris, and we'll see if that continues. But first, the Greyhounds are going to have their drive start on the 25-yard line after Gillum, who had a kickoff return for a touchdown 88 yards earlier. He watches it go over his head, and now the drive will start at the 25.
And while this drive may seem insignificant to a point, this drive has the capability to take the wind out of Quincy's sails once and for all. After coming out of the halftime, you have a halftime speech from the coach. You have all the players getting hyped up, and if you come out here and UINDY drops a touchdown on you, that might That might indicate a bad future there.
Don't want to say seal the deal because we're still have a whole half of play, but you're right. If they can get a long scoring drive here, it could make things a lot more demoralizing for the defense as we start with a fresh set of downs to the 25. First drive of half number 2, and number 2 scrambles out and tosses it over the head of his intended receiver and Frank Bentley. That'll be an incomplete pass to start things off.
And it's little things like that. The ability to know when to throw the ball away, when the pressure is too much in the secondary, that separates inexperienced quarterbacks from experienced quarterbacks.
The Hounds trying to expand on this 32-point lead. It started the game with Quincy on offense, right? So they had the opening kickoff, but the forced fumble gave the Greyhounds a quick score, and now they're going to try to do the same thing here in quarter number 3 as Buchanan goes for 10 and a first down. How about that on second down to move the chains and get past the 45? Make that the 35. It'll be down to 36.
And if you're UINDY, you love to see that. He kind of slowed down there at the end of the first half, but for that run, a big chunk run like that, that's awesome to see.
First and 10 from the 36-yard line. A bit of a run formation here for Indianapolis. Out of the pistol for the first time today. That means his running back's just a few steps behind the quarterback, and Christian Conkling hands it off. No, fakes the handoff, and now looks to throw. He has all day to throw. Goes downfield to Derrick, and it's incomplete. Bounces off his hands, but the flags fly. That's going to be a defensive pass interference, and Alonzo Derrick celebrates. Joel Graves was the defender who's going to get popped with this PI. Sure enough, it'll be a pass interference against Graves, so we'll give him a free 15 and set up this offense another first and 10.
And Conkling hasn't really had the opportunity to show off his arm much, but right there it looked pretty solid. It was a good spot, but the pass interference penalty led to an incompletion.
So instead of setting up a second and 10 here from the 36, we're going to see a first and 10 in enemy territory at the Hawks' 49-yard line. A heavy offensive line here, potentially looking to run the ball with Jaquan Buchanan. They do just that. A sweep to the near side. Buchanan gets in space. Flags fly. Bounces off a few defenders. Buchanan to the outside. Still on his feet. Finally out around the 15-yard line. But we need to check on these flags. And more importantly, check on an injured player for the Hawks. And that's the one player you don't want to see go down with an injury if you're a Quincy fan. Peyton Chappell is the heart and soul of their defense, the senior. Second in the nation in solo tackles, and he heads to the sideline with the training staff. This play is going to come back, which of course is insignificant looking at that injury, but instead of being that long gain from Buchanan, we're going to see a 10-yard holding penalty. So now from the 41, we'll see a first down and 20. A big play in front of this team. Probably just going to see a rush, if I were to guess, from Lenny Bennett. Offense does show a 3-receiver set. A pass interference for Quincy's defense, but then a holding for the offense. Puts it right around the same spot. Looking to throw, near side, caught for a first down by Kamal Ransom. He's having himself a bounce-back day after 3 quiet weeks. That's Ransom's third catch for over 50 yards.
And that's a great execution of a play-action play right there. Even I was fooled by the handoff.
That's something this offense does very well. And when you run the ball like they do, like I said, 250 rushing yards a game, you kind of expect everyone's going to key in on that run game. But they can run a successful play action as long as the quarterback can make the throws, which today Christian Conkling has been making the throws. 2nd and 5. Handoff goes to Lenny Bennett, and he lowers his shoulder. Gets the first down, move the chains inside the 40. Put him down at the 35-yard line of the Hawks.
They're really attacking all levels of this Quincy defense. They're going right, they're going left, and they're on their heels. They don't know what to expect next.
First down and 10 from the 36-yard line. It's a heavy formation, looking to run potentially with Buchanan. Instead, they're going to run him out of the backfield, running a route down the field. They're going to throw his way, incomplete. over the head of Logan Caney. Good coverage there from Sharon Cunningham, the senior safety.
Logan Caney, the intended receiver for UINDY.
So with that, we'll see a second down, start over at the 36. Caden, that's just the third incompletion today from Christian Conkling. What's made him so successful? Just his second start.
Well, up front, the protection's been there, and when it's not, he's been really good at getting out of the pocket. And when he is out of the pocket, he's not scared. He's not intimidated.
Second down and long. It'll be a handoff to Bennett, who finds some open space and is brought down in the open field by Trahan Thornton, but not after. He gets a gain of 9. We'll set up a third down and very short, maybe a yard to go at the 27-yard line. What do you think we're going to see here? A run up the middle, which has not quite been the success of the offense with Bennett in. Are we going to maybe see some type of pass? What do you think?
Well, it being third down, they are in the shotgun formation, but they love to run out of the shotgun. Up the middle, I don't think it's a bad idea here.
Bennett's the running back. McNeilis in to block at tight end potentially. So now they're going to switch Bennett over to the left side of Christian Conkling. Third and short. Trying to continue to run the clock, and they do just that as Bennett breaks it out wide. Finally tripped up, but not after. He gets plenty for that first down. Making the stop for Quincy, and a touchdown-saving stop was the defensive lineman Dale Dambeck.
And that was really a great example of open field tackling. If he doesn't make that tackle, that's pay dirt.
Regardless, it's a first down and 10 from that 18-yard line. Into the red zone are the Greyhounds. Bennett gets to stay in the game. He's had a successful couple runs. We'll see if he can continue to parlay that into some success. 3 receiver set. McNeilis the man in motion at tight end. Bennett's the running back, and he's going to get the handoff here and cut it up to the left side, but how about that? Brought down right away. A pretty impressive stop by this defense of the Hawks. Looks like he was brought down by Peyton Plunkett. This will maybe lose a yard, so add another TFL to the tally of Peyton Plunkett. Again, 13 in the nation in that category. He's had 11 tackles for loss this season, and he gets another one there. He's had an impressive campaign. He's not even one of the starting linebackers listed on the depth chart. He's listed as a backup. Buchanan, the running back. Here is Christian Conkling. Looking to throw, pump fakes, pressure comes. They're going to get him down as a sack, and he fumbles the ball. That's picked up by the Hawks. You cannot do that. Christian Conkling loses the ball. Looks like it's going to be Hawks' ball. And Caden, explain this to me. Conkling saw 2 guys in his face and held on to the ball. Why didn't he throw it away?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe that's just the inexperience showing there. I mean, he's been pretty solid tonight, but with the limited experience he was bound to make a mistake here or there, and this could be a really costly one.
That's the first time he's been sacked today. 14 of 18 was his stat line, 247 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. He has looked amazing. He had that long of 68 to Alonzo Derrick, but there he makes maybe his first mistake of the day, and it costs. And now some momentum for Quincy. Maybe they can parlay this into some success. Tion Harris sends a guy out in motion. Could look to throw his way in the slot. He will, sure enough, but it's a drop. That one's big. Was wide open, and potentially with a chance to get into some open field was his wide receiver, Paul Sullivan Jr.
And UINDY caught a break there because there were no defenders within 15 feet of him.
Incomplete, second and long. Spread formation out of the shotgun. All alone is the quarterback in Tion Harris. Came into the year with 17 touchdowns, has yet to notch one so far today. Here's a quick slant. Caught but tackled by Cavante Houston, and it was a big hit by Houston.
And those routes are always scary as wide receivers.
Timeout. Injured player.
Slow to get up is this receiver for the Hawks, and that's Marlon Washington, forced to start today due to the absence of A.J. Harden, the team's top receiver. Got hurt last week, the senior from St. Louis, Missouri, so Washington stepping into a big role, and there we just saw him get popped pretty hard. We also saw with that collision, Cavante Houston took a big hit, and he's going to head to the sideline as well. Training staff comes on. And that would be a big loss because Houston is one heck of a player in the secondary, second on the team in tackles. He's got 39 of them coming into this game.
One thing that makes Houston so special is his range. He's so quick to the ball.
He sure is. 3rd down and 4 from the 36. Harris sends a guy in motion out of the slot. That is Anik McKenzie looking to throw. Pressure comes and it gets home. Sacked for a big loss, and that will bring out the punt team. Kiave Guerriere into the backfield for yet another sack. This year he's got 1.5 of those, make it 2.5. You see the celebration from this defense. What a unit they've been this season, and it shows there. Here's the punt. It's a low snap. It gets off. Looks like a good punt. Tracking it will be Alonzo Derrick, but he's going to let it bounce. It'll be down at the 21. So we'll see how this offense does with a full field in front of them. They had to start one of their drives earlier from the 16-yard line, ended a punt. Aside from that, nothing's really been this close. It's been closer to the 35, if not into enemy territory to start the drives. So here's one from the 21-yard line. We'll see how the offense can do with that full field in front of them.
And we've seen how Christian Conklin responds to smooth sailing, but what happens when he fumbles? How's he going to respond to that? How's he going to bounce back? And that can be a true indicator of how his mentality is.
It's going to be a big key, just getting him this run late in the last 2 quarters of this game. That's going to give him a lot of confidence going into the rest of GLVC play. Of course, this being just the 3rd GLVC game that this team has played this year. We'll see what they can do. Here's a handoff, goes to Kellen Porter. Hasn't seen a lot of carries today, but they'll try to go forward. Maybe gets a gain of 1. Brought down by a slew of Hawks. Maybe called a flock of Hawks. Well, Caden, I try to tell a joke, and it just goes flat. You don't even laugh at it. What's that all about? Here we've got a 2nd down and 10.
My bad, Nathaniel. I'm tuned in. I'm in the zone.
Well, with that analytical mind, what do you think the Greyhounds are going to do here on 2nd and long?
Well, I don't see the need for the Greyhounds to really make any rash decisions here. I mean, taking time off the clock's the best bet.
Porter, the running back. He had the last carry. He's not going to get one here as Conklin's going to run it. And just a nice little soft toss to Ethan Hand, who gets out for a touchdown, or rather a 1st down. And I beg your pardon. He gets over to the 35-yard line. Hand with a 1st down, and so far this year, that's just his 5th catch. Not a lot of run he has seen at receivers. He's been primarily the blocking tight end. The receiving tight end for most of this year is Kevin McNeil. He comes into the game now, and you see number 86 who squats down on that far side of the offensive line. Kellen Porter's the man you just saw move to the left side of Christian Conklin, and he gets the handoff. Nice little cut, and he lowers his shoulder, but is brought down right away. Still after a gain of about 4 over to the 39-yard line. Brought down by Peyton Plunkett.
And we're starting to say Peyton Plunkett's name more and more. Peyton Plunkett alongside the other Peyton of this defense. They're the 2 leaders, and they can really rally this team together and get a stop here.
Plunkett's got 4 tackles already in this game. Here's a 2nd down and short from the 39-yard line. It's Gillum. He's got the speed. He can do something here as he stays on his feet on the reverse. He'll gain just 3 yards after all that work. But past the 40 to the 42, it's going to set up a 3rd down and short. And he's just such a fun player to watch, right? The electricity out of the 2 legs of Marquez Gillum. It's a lot of fun. Kind of reminds you of Davion Bell, who's been a great player for the Greyhounds in the last few years. He's since graduated, and Gillum's picking up a little bit of that slack as a freshman.
3rd and 3.
3rd and 3. 42-yard line. Shotgun formation. McNeil's in motion. Heavier formation. Ideal to run out of. They're not going to do that here as they get the pass blocking in, and it's an incomplete pass intended for Alonzo Derrick. Past the line again, but it's incomplete to set up 4th down and bring out the punt team.
4th down coming up for the Hounds.
And I think the pressure's really starting to weigh on Conklin's shoulders. Rushed that throw there and made a bad throw into the ground.
And we've seen, kind of like you mentioned, we've seen a clean pocket. We've seen an ideal situation for Christian Conklin all game. He sees a little bit of adversity with that fumble, and now we see not able to come out and respond very strong in this drive. Still obviously plenty of cushion with that 32-point lead, but it's interesting to see how Conklin can perform in these types of pressure situations. Almost blocked, but this punt gets away from Ryan Zoller. Chasing after it was the Hawks, Lazarick Hill, but it'll be caught on the other end and set up this drive for the Hawks. Starting at the 25-yard line, we'll see what this offense can do. It's been a struggle for Quincy's offense for most of this game, which is surprising because they put up 63 points last week against McKendree. It's just been a different team this week.
I think Quincy wanted a barn burner here. I think they thought coming to the game that their offense could go toe-to-toe with UINDY's offense, but they've got a defensive battle right here.
Tion Harris, heavy set formation. He'll hand off out of it to Lee. Jermaine Lee gains a couple yards. Now we'll actually just get back to the line of scrimmage before he's slung down. Second and long.
No gain on the play.
Nice job by Jacob Jones to get in there and make that tackle. And Jones, he's been fighting for playing time. We saw Dylan Shelton here for the Greyhounds, who came in a couple weeks ago against McKendree, had a 4.5 tackle for loss and 3 sacks against McKendree to get that GLVC Player of the Week, as we see a pass caught over the middle of the field. Running out in the open field goes the receiver, and Angel Ruiz as he gets past the 25 to the 24-yard line. How about that catch and run from Harris to Ruiz?
And we've complimented the UINDY play action, but we saw Quincy set up that play right there with 3 runs that didn't really equate to much. But that play action gained a huge chunk.
A gain of 51 yards from Harris to Ruiz, and a hurry-up offense gets this quick toss to the end zone. Caught, no, dropped. Should have been a touchdown from Jalen Lawrence, but it's incomplete. In on coverage was Brandon Thomas, but that's just simply a busted coverage and a poor mistake here by the receivers. You see here just bounced right off his 2 hands.
And that's been the story of the night for this offense. Just as soon as they get something going, they shoot themselves in the foot.
4 receivers set to the far side. That's the top of your screen. Here's Harris, sends a guy in motion, one of his running backs, and Miles Cheatham. They'll go take a run towards the end zone, caught for a touchdown, wide open. The defense just ran out of gas as Clay Schulte couldn't keep up with Hans Wisniewski. Gets his 2nd touchdown of the day. 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Wisniewski is cooking.
They were in man coverage right there, and we just got lost.
And now we're going to see this PAT team come out on the field. The holder is Bryce Broussard. The kicker is Drew Lenzen. He's missed 5 PATs this year, but made the only one that he's attempted this game. Here's the kick between the uprights, successful, so that puts the score now 42-17. We'll talk all about how that drive went next.
Court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
See the kicker and the holder. The defense getting that fired up speech from Tim Cooper, the defensive coordinator, down on the bottom of your screen towards the left, as you see there on the bench. Talking that one over after a bit of a struggle of the drive there, and we saw it was because Quincy just found so much success on offense, and it's not quite been the theme for today, but here it's worked out where they were able to come out and play well on that drive, march all the way down the field, ended in that couple busted coverages in a row, but Hans Wisniewski gets that 24-yard touchdown reception. This year, that's just his first touchdown reception of the season. Also has his first rush of the season after picking up that fumble earlier. It's really been all him on offense. It's been fun to watch. Big guy from Sterling Heights, Michigan. The touchback will bring out the offense for Indianapolis. And again, same storyline as the last drive. We'll see what Conklin can do to respond to adversity. Just a couple drives ago, fumbled the ball. This time, ended up having to punt the ball after a failed 3rd down attempt. We'll see what they can do here on offense. Buchanan's going to come in at running back.
Contact one of the travel consultants today, and Travel Life DII.com free enterprise. Anything else is just a bus ride.
As the lead starts to dwindle, the Greyhounds trying to get back on the board here. They do with the reception here to Alonzo Derrick. He fights through some traffic, and he'll gain about 9 yards on first, bring him within a yard of the line to gain at the 34.
Brought down on the play by number 16, that's Trajan Thornton. Second and one.
A 25-point lead is nothing to sneeze at, obviously, but this offense definitely doesn't want to just watch it dwindle away. They've seen bigger leads dissipate. We'll see if they can continue to run the ball here and just deflate the ball. McNeil's in motion. The running back is Jaquan Buchanan, and he gets the handoff. He pushes forward for the first and more, busts it out wide, and look at Buchanan. Gets his hand down, still going, still busting it out. Look at him, a flag flies as he gets out of bounds, finally at the 33-yard line.
What a block downfield by Jeremiah Lee right there. That was crazy. He came flying into your screen. And
we're going to see what these penalties are for, though. Definitely could be on the defense, the area that it flew in, but you also mentioned that Jeremiah Lee block could be something on that. Curious to see what happens.
Personal foul, blindside block.
It will go against Jeremiah Lee in the offense. A blindside block, and it's one that's led to an injury on the field. With that, we're going to go ahead and step aside here on UINDY TV.
Timeout, injured player.
Court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship, found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Doing great, Grayson. Back here at Key Stadium, Nathaniel Finch sitting up here with Caden Colford, and down on the sideline is Sydney Smith. We'll hear from her at the end of this quarter as the Greyhounds with that 42-17 lead over the Hawks of Quincy, Illinois. About a 3.5 hour drive to come out here to Indianapolis.
It was good to see Peyton Plunkett get up and walk off the field under his own power. He really is a stud on the defensive side, even though the scoreboard may not show it. He's had a good game.
First down and 10 from the 46-yard line. Conkling, the quarterback, sends Derrick in motion. Gonna look to throw with a lot of pressure. Caught by Derrick. Derrick in the open field can do some damage. He's gonna elect to just take the safe play and step out of bounds after a gain of 5 to the 49 of the Hawks.
5-yard pickup on the pass and catch. 2nd and 5 coming up for the Hounds.
We see now a 2nd down and 5. How about Derrick? He's been a good player this season, and this game specifically, he's been a big leader for this wide receiver room. Derrick with 6 catches this game. Here's a handoff to Kellen Porter, who finds nothing. There's the defense. Well, look at this. The pile pushes him about a yard. Instead of a loss of 1, he ended up gaining 1 yard and sets up 3rd down and short. How about that? The pile pushes him forward. This is a very impressive offensive line for Indianapolis.
That's a great showing of grit right there. There's not a lot of things as a coach you can do to teach that. You're just kind of born with that, you know?
3rd down and 4 from the 48. Conkling out of the spread, standing in the shotgun. His running back is Jaquan Buchanan. Caney runs in motion. There are no tight ends in here to block. 3 receiver now to the near side. Looking to throw, quick toss, caught by Derrick. He continues to build on his impressive day.
And without a major piece of this rushing offense, I think we expected the UINDY offense to really kind of lean on the pass, even with an inexperienced quarterback. And so far, it's worked really well. Zoe Derrick has really stepped up. He's a veteran on this squad, and he's looked up to. He's a captain, so he's doing a great job.
137 receiving yards and counting for Alonzo Derrick. And, of course, that touchdown from earlier did have a grab of 68 yards earlier in that first half, and he's looked good. Here's 1st down. Quick handoff. I like that play design, but it did not work. Swallowing it up right away was this defense of the Hawks. And that is what set up a loss of 1. A great job here by the defense of the Hawks, and namely Gavin Hayes.
That had somewhat of a draw action to it, but the Hawks were all over it.
His second tackle for loss this year for Hayes. Offense out of a very bunched up formation. We've got 3 receivers, but all close up together. Definitely a run set. From the 42, handoff. The run defense does not get the blocks they need, and it's Jaquan Buchanan who goes out for 15 yards on second down and long. You talked about it earlier, when you blitz, you can mess up some run fits here, and it was just an even better job by this running back in Buchanan who just turned on the jets.
And I think the Hawks sent a defender through every gap except the gap that Buchanan would find, and it led to a huge gain.
Definitely looked like it was going to be a loss of quite a bit, like 4 or 5 yards, but instead Buchanan just proved to be the better player. 1st and 10 from the 27. Conkling, watch his hand go in motion. He's going to show zone coverage, but the blitz comes. Quick toss, middle of the field, incomplete. A big shot took Christian Conkling, but he gets up. Helped up by his left guard and Kednall Alexis. He set up second down after the incomplete. And how about that? The pressure finally got home. Didn't get the sack, but got there.
He was on the run there, and I think he's lucky to get the ball off in that situation.
It's good for the Greyhounds to see some pressure against this quarterback because they can kind of test the fires, especially when you're playing with the 25-point lead like they are. Let the pressure come a little bit, see what Conkling can do and how he can respond. I'm sure the coaching staff and head coach Chris Keevers loves to see it. From the 27-yard line, here's second down and long. Jeremiah Lee's the man in motion. He's fumbled the snap, taking a big hit. Conkling, I'm sure, did not like the feel of that one. He gets back on the ball, but is slow to get up as he was all pretzeled up and then smushed by the defense. That's going to bring out a third down and long after a loss, 3rd and 15 to be exact from the 32. Getting the sack will be Dale Dambeck. Here's a third down. 4 receivers set, no tight ends. The running back is Jaquan Buchanan, probably into pass block. He does pretty effectively at that despite being a bit undersized. Looking to throw, pressure comes again. Another big shot, this time a completed pass goes to Logan Caney and he pushes forward. He'll gain a few. Not enough to get the first down though, he's about 2 yards shy, but the bigger story, how about Christian Conkling taking yet another big hit?
And you saw on your screen, that throw was actually in a double coverage. If that throw's not right where it was, then it's probably intercepted.
Joseph Webb gets that tackle, helped out by his teammate Joel Graves, but more importantly, Conkling now looked like he got the wind knocked out of him. A few straight back-to-back hits. He's going to definitely enjoy this quarter break. 15 more minutes to go here in this game. That's next on UINDY TV. Right after this sideline report from Sydney Smith.
Lots of back and forth action this quarter with Quincy scoring a touchdown within the last 5 minutes of play. But the Greyhounds are still in the lead with 42-17 over the Hawks. So hopefully the Hounds can maintain their advantage for this final quarter. So be sure to stay tuned to UINDY TV to see the rest of this amazing game.
Things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Here's going to be a field goal on 4th and 3. It's going to be a 37-yard kick. Colin Seymour's long is 36. Here's the kick. It's got the distance, and it is good. Increases long by a yard. It's a little bit of celebration there between Raudebush and Seymour, the long snapper, holder, and kicker, respectively. And a pretty impressive job there from Seymour, and seems to be celebrating. Of course, at this point, when you've got the lead you do, we're in the 4th quarter now, just finding ways to celebrate, and they do with that field goal. So it's not quite the long drive we were expecting from Conkling, but it was enough to get points on the board. Caden, what do you like from that drive?
I like the fact that they didn't really force anything there, and they didn't need to. Being as up by as much as they are right now, there was no need to make any stupid decision. I think he did a good job of handling the pressure as well as he could and making the decisions when he needed to.
We'll await the kickoff here from Carter Ward of Indianapolis after his kicking teammate Colin Seymour hit his 7th field goal on 11 attempts this season. Seymour went to Twin Lakes as a record 54-yard field goal. Also an alumni of Twin Lakes is Jacob Walton, who's sitting here to my right taking pictures for the athletic staff. As here the end over end kick goes to the 10 where it's going to be fair caught. And we haven't even seen any attempts at returning these kicks here for Quincy's kickoff return team. That time was Anik McKenzie. There's just been a lot of fair catches, kickoff and punts. What do you think that is? Why not even try to go for those long gains?
I don't think that they're trying to make any more bad mistakes. They don't want any fumbles. I think they want to get into the method offense. They want to play at their pace. But even though I'm a little confused, I think a good kick return could be a spark plug for this offense. But I'm up here, and that's why they're down there. So
from the 25-yard line, it is a first down and 10 to start off this drive. Man in motion is Ruiz looking to toss into the flat and complete. Intended receiver was the tight end, and Hans Wisniewski, who has 2 touchdowns today. That is over his head to set up second down from the 25.
4054. The University and the Department of Athletics thanks you for your attendance and support of Greyhound football.
Over 4,000 people in attendance here at Key Stadium for this GLVC matchup. Looking to throw, Tion Harris caught an open field, and how about that? Ruiz gets the extra yards he needs, and he shows why he was a highly touted walk-on for Arizona State just a few years ago before he transferred. 8 up the Greyhounds last year, had 4 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown against Indianapolis a year ago, and here he has another catch. Add to his resume for today. He's got his 3rd catch. Here's a catch on the run, and it's a nice one as he gets past the 40. Given finally brings him down, but how about Ruiz suddenly getting on a roll? What makes him so special?
They're feeding him right now. As you can see, he's intense. He's into this game, even though they're down by a large margin. I mean, that's a great quality to have as a football player. You can be down, but when you have the mentality of never being out, who knows what you can do.
He advances it to the 37-yard line. Harris to the corner of near the end zone inside the 10. It's caught. How about that? Now the offense is rolling. This time it was Paul Sullivan Jr. who got the catch and now gets his team in the red zone, and they're hurrying up. They are not going to relent here, trying to draw this defense and get them tired.
And after those 2 straight passes to Ruiz, you saw the defense shift that way, which left the receiver wide open.
First and goal from the 8. Handoff gets swallowed up right away by the Greyhounds. Michael Dennison, Benjamin Hanias bring him down for a loss. He'll end up losing about 4 and gets him to the 13-yard line.
And the Greyhound defense really needed that. After a big chunk play like that, it's always good to re-seize the momentum.
Second goal now from the 13-yard line. In motion is Lee, the running back. Receiver out in motion again, looking to throw to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Did he keep possession? He did. Touchdown number 3 on the day for Hans Wisniewski.
And even though he lost his wide receiver 1 to injury today, he's found a new one in his tight end, Hans Wisniewski, and he's been a unit today. His hands have been great, and he's been the target number 1.
He came into this contest with just 14 catches for 161 yards. Since then, has been able to put up a couple touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground as we see that kickoff or that PAT successful. We'll tell you more about Wisniewski and the game he's having here next. A touchdown and a successful PAT brings this game just a little bit closer, trying to hang on and find a way back into this game as this Quincy offense currently down big. It's a 21-point deficit, but the Greyhounds have seen worse elapse, so we'll see how this ending will finish. Out to kick is Drew Lenzen, kickoff specialist for the Greyhounds. Back to return, Gillum and Buchanan. It's going to go right to Gillum. He's definitely going to take this and give him any shot, as he had an 88-yard return earlier. See what he can do here as he cuts up field position. Wrapped up by a tackler. He's still on his feet, though. It's going to take 5 guys to bring him down. What a player, Marquez Gillum, the freshman returner.
And you got to think that Keevers in this offense are really going to start to play the clock here.
Greyhounds take over possession 1st and 10. All spotted at their own.
Probably aiming to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible in inbounds.
Trying to, as I mentioned a couple times today, deflate the clock. Continue to take the air out of the ball. And by that, we mean just you run the ball, the clock rolls another 30 seconds or so. You run the ball again, the clock rolls. You pick up the first down and just keep that cycle going until you have a 6-7 minute drive. Hand off the sweep to Jaquan Buchanan. He busted out wide. Oh, but he gets ankle tackled. How about that? A nice tackle for this defense. And the linebacker there for Quincy's offense, or for Quincy's defense, I beg your pardon, and Brock Inman. As we have a timeout, an injured player on the field. We'll check on him next here on UINDY TV.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
13 minutes on the clock as we see Brandon Granger helped off the field, able to walk off in his own power, which is good to see. We've seen a couple injuries here on defense for Quincy. Peyton Plunkett was walking off on his own power. Peyton Chappell had to jog off in between plays due to injury. It's a bit of a banged up unit. This is definitely not the time when you want to be banged up front. This front seven needs to key in on the run. Speaking on Chappell's injury, I do not see him out on the field right now. Out of the gun, faking the handoff. They're looking to throw here. Pressure comes in and collapses the pocket. Down goes Kennett again. Boy, he has not looked that good in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
He's really slowed down, and the Hawks have sent a lot more bodies after him.
Loss on the play. 3rd down and 11 coming up for the Hounds.
The camera you see right now is manned by Colin Jung, our other game camera. Up on top of the press box, Kendall Pearson. Down on the ground is Liam Blaze, manning our ground camera. We'd like to thank our crew. Back in the control room is Grayson Holt directing as we see Christian Conkling ready to throw this one as he gets it over to Jeremiah Lee and complete. My goodness, what a great defense. As we saw there, a great play by the cornerback, Kenshawn Bragg, the cousin of Toriano Clinton, who of course is not able to play today, but he gets up and celebrates. Last year's 2nd team All-GLVC makes a great play at corner. And that's a big one because it would have been a 1st down. Instead, it's going to be a 4th down and a big punt. Ryan Zoller back to punt. Zoller, the Ray Guy All-American back in high school. His father played soccer at Bellarmine, so kicking is in the blood. Bellarmine, a former GLVC team. Of course, not when his father played. As this fair catch goes at the 46-yard line.
Angel Ruiz calls for a fair catch. The Hawks will take over.
This will set up the Hawks on offense with actually one of the better field position setups they've had today. I'll be curious to see how this drive goes, as they need to maybe start going into desperation mode, taking some quick shots, down by 3 scores. They need to do something quick here. It's probably going to be through the air.
Well, we know that Harris isn't afraid to throw the long ball at all, and we know he has a target. Or he has a couple targets now in Angel Ruiz and Hans Wisniewski, and both of them have solid hands.
This is the best starting field position at the 46-yard line for the Hawks, and Tion Harris, who airs it out deep. He has a guy open early. He gets the, no, he drops it. My goodness, yet another drop. This receiving corps has been plagued with these as Anika McKenzie can't haul in what would have been a surefire huge gain and potentially a touchdown. As you see him shaking his head on his way off.
And it looked like McKenzie really just turned around late right there. I'm not sure if he knew the ball was coming or not.
It's not often you can get a wide open receiver like that, and Tion Harris is kicking himself for not being able to connect. Still from the 46-yard line. Another quick toss, caught by the boundary, reaching across. That is Angel Ruiz, who gets a gain of about 8. Into enemy territory now at the 46-yard line. An offense that hasn't operated too much in enemy territory. Of course, they have put together a couple of successful drives. They're going to continue to try to do that here and bring it within a couple scores in this game. Bunch formation, 3 receivers set near the line of scrimmage. Handoff, no, quick toss into the flat. Caught, and how about this? A nice move here from this receiver, and flags fly near the line of scrimmage. It was enough to move the chains from Paul Sullivan Jr., but we'll check on the flag.
Penalty flag on the turf.
A nice tackle from Michael Brown, and again, we got to wait and see what this flag is. Caden, this is pretty big because it can either set up a third down and a bit longer, or maybe even move the chains and give some free yards, but the referees don't seem to quite have a verdict yet. And here it comes.
No foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. By rule, no pass interference.
No foul. So they'll move the chains. A nice play from Harris to his wide receiver, and Paul Sullivan Jr. against McKendree last week. 7 catches, almost 100 yards and a touchdown. And that 63-62 win against the Bearcats did Quincy have. Ended up winning the game off of a stop 2-point attempt. Here's a catch. A nice leaping grab by the slot receiver who gets past the chains. Again with Paul Sullivan.
Paul Sullivan Jr., that's good for another Quincy first down. 1st and 10 at the Hounds 24-yard line.
Sullivan leads the team in receptions. He has nearly 10 now at this point in the game. Out of an empty backfield though. 4 receivers set. Harris from the 24. Pressure comes in the form of Barnett, but he gets upended now to the end zone, incomplete. Schulte in on coverage. Multiple defensive pass interference flags fly. That's going to be a 15-yard and a free first down.
It looks like Schulte was holding him the entire length of the field. I think that was a good call.
And again, this Greyhounds team came into the game just 6 penalties a game for 60 yards on average. So far today has not been looking too good for them, as they've just seen quite a bit of big penalties. A lot of 15-yarders as well, whether it be from the personal fouls or the pass interference like we have here. It's just been a bit undisciplined on defense.
Automatic first down.
Well, what we've seen is these Quincy wide receivers, they're really quick off the blocks, and sometimes these UINDY defenders are left in the dust and have nothing to do but hold. Although they have been bailed out by a couple big drops.
Instead of from the 24, here's going to be a 1st and goal from the 9. The receivers are Ruiz, Lawrence, out there with Anik McKenzie out of the slot. The running back is Tremaine Lee. He's had himself a slow afternoon. Lee doesn't get the handoff. It goes almost intercepted by Michael Brown. A big hit on the quarterback and Harris, and that's incomplete. Crisis averted as we saw the pressure came quickly for this defense. And you see here, look at that.
Aaron Barnett had him in a bear hug, and it was either go down hard or get the throw off.
That's a Roman Reigns level spear right there, and you see Mike Brown just kicking himself. He wasn't able to get his hands on that ball. Harris, the 2-team GLVC Offensive Player of the Week. That includes last week, in which case he had a great day against McKendree. 35 of 50 for almost 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not quite the same story today. Trying to get another touchdown on the board, though, with 2 receivers to the far side, 1 man in motion to the near side. He's going to look to throw. Near side slant, caught in the flat, and maybe a gain of 2. Big hit by Clay Schulte, and that'll rock the running back and Tremaine Lee out of the backfield.
Really great recognition there by Schulte. The offense had the defense shifting to the left side, but Schulte wasn't phased.
And how about Scott Schulte? That's the father of Clay. He was a former defensive assistant here with Coach Keevers at UINDY. Once the all-time leading rusher at Hillsdale and in GLIAC history, but more importantly has ties to Indianapolis, and Schulte is picking up where his dad left off. Here's the toss to the corner of the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Angel Ruiz, a touchdown against the Greyhounds. Had one in the game last year, gets one here today, and suddenly it's a 2-score game. Look at that. What a great catch at the corner of the end zone.
And as a route runner, this guy is showing some top-tier stuff.
The kicker here for Quincy, Drew Lenzen. His holder, Bryce Broussard.
On the Indianapolis bench, foul being enforced on the kickoff.
They're going to call this a sideline penalty against the Greyhounds bench. So with that, we'll see a penalty enforced on the kickoff. But for here, here's the PAT. It's just a normal one. It's between the uprights and successful. Suddenly we have ourselves a game with 10 minutes left. One team leads by 14. They'll have the ball next.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Another successful drive for Quincy's offense as Tion Harris connects with his wide receiver and Angel Ruiz. Harris's 3rd passing touchdown of the day, and suddenly starting to look like his old self as he gets a nice drive going here against the Greyhounds defense. And now we've got ourselves a game, right? A 15-yard penalty enforced because of a sideline warning against the Greyhounds. Puts the ball at the 50-yard line. Caden, I wouldn't mind going for an onside kick here, because what happens if you don't get it? The ball is going to be at the 35, 40-yard line anyway. Why not try something here? I doubt they will, but I'd like to see something here for Quincy, trying to get some momentum. Here's the kick. It is a full one that they're going to put into the back of the end zone. So use the extra 15 yards to get a little bit of extra distance on this ball and set up the offense at the 25-yard line. This Quincy defense, though, while they might have been a little banged up the last couple drives, they've held their own, kept UINDY from scoring a whole lot. Of course, we had the field goal 2 drives ago, but aside from that, we've seen a lot of the punter Ryan Zoller, and Quincy's going to try to replicate that here.
UINDY has 1 goal here, and that's really to keep the Quincy offense off of the field. They need to milk time.
Christian Conkling comes on to take this shotgun snap. His running back is Jaquan Buchanan, 3-receiver set. He's going to turn and call timeout, though. Did not like what he saw. And with that, we will step aside up here in the booth as well.
Indianapolis, first charge of the half.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Timeout called by Christian Conkling, trying to find some comfort in this offense, trying to become a leader. He is a senior for this team out of Pendleton Heights from Anderson, Indiana. Hasn't played a whole lot. Of course, he took a few snaps and actually made a couple nice throws, including a touchdown to Rory Heltzley in the first game in garbage time against St. Xavier when the Greyhounds were ahead by a bunch, ended up winning that game 57-0. They didn't see time until last week's start because of an injury to Connor Kinnett. Played against Saginaw Valley and kind of struggled through 4 picks. Did have a touchdown to Kevin McNeilis, but today he's looked like a different man, playing pretty well. But that is when he's got a clean pocket. We'll see if that continues here. From the 25, handoff goes to Jaquan Buchanan. He hits off one of his own offensive linemen. That's Austin Keel, his center. That, alongside some other Quincy Hawks, bring him down after a gain of 1. Put him down at the 26.
And I think these Quincy Hawks have really stunned this UINDY team. This UINDY team was up by 3 or 4 scores at one point. So for it to only be a 2-score game is kind of shocking.
Remember, it was 42-10 at halftime. Quick toss. No, incomplete. Oh, it's caught for an interception into the end zone. We have a 1-touchdown ball game. The pick 6 off of the tip and the grab and the run into the end zone. My goodness.
The anticipation on this play by 21 is just...
That's Jackson Connell.
Jackson Connell with the anticipation and the run back. And you can see the energy on their sideline. They're pumped. They feel like they can win this game, and I feel like they can win this game too.
We just talked about it. 42-10 was the score at the half. The Greyhounds have mustered a field goal in half number 2, and Quincy has come raging back, trying to score their 28th point of this half, and it's because of a pick 6. The PAT is successful. Suddenly, it is a 7-point game. We'll see how the Greyhounds respond, and Christian Conkling after throwing the pick 6 next on UINDY TV.
Champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
The kickoff unit comes out here for Quincy and the Hawks from Illinois. And what a comeback they've had. 42-10 was the score at halftime. They've put up 28 points compared to the Greyhounds 3 in half number 2, and it's been just a completely different team that's come out of that locker room. Drew Lenzen with this high end over end kickoff. Tries to prompt the fair catch, and he does just that with Ethan Hand. That'll set up this Greyhounds offense. We'll have it at the 31-yard line.
And not even 5 minutes ago, Christian Conkling threw a pick 6 that made this game a 1-score game. And you know he's thinking about that coming into this drive. And we'll see if it either motivates him or pushes him down.
How hard is it to come back out and respond after throwing a pick 6 like that? Because he's now the next one to touch the ball after that mistake. And of course, it wasn't an egregious throw. It was just a great play made by the defense for Quincy and that linebacker and Jackson Connell. But it's going to be hard to get that out of his head. It's now 1st down and 10. Looking to throw early here. Trying to respond quickly. Alonzo Derrick down the sideline. And it hits the very tips of his gloves. Incomplete. In on the coverage for the Hawks was David Lewis.
That was a gutsy call. On 1st down, after a drive that ended in a pick 6, to go down the field like that takes some real guts. However, that does stop the clock.
1st down, make that 2nd down and 10 now from the 30-yard line. Buchanan, the running back, he'll get the handoff here. Bounces it outside. This is where he's been so dangerous today. He sheds a tackle and steps out of bounds inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line. He'll be knocked out by Peyton Plunkett.
Even though Buchanan's not the biggest of men, he sure plays like a big guy. He's not afraid of contact at all. He'll go right into you.
Third and short. This is a big play from this Quincy defense. Trying to get their offense back on the field with a chance to tie the game or even take the lead as Ethan Hand moves in motion. UINDY just needs 2 yards from the 38. Hand it off to Buchanan. He looks like he gets it, does he? No, he's just shy. He's a foot shy of the line to gain.
from the side official.
And you cannot afford to go for it here, right? So do you have to punt? Is that your only option, or do you think the Greyhounds can try to go for 4?
Punting is the only option here. There is no foreseeable future I could see where they potentially give the ball to the Hawks on the 42-yard line.
And a foot to go.
Yeah, sure enough, they're going to call this a 4th down and a foot. Bring out Ryan Zoller on the punt team. How about that stop from Quincy? They didn't get the sack, they didn't get a fumble recovery, they didn't get an interception, but they got enough to get this ball in the hands of their offense.
Fair catch by Ruiz. And
Ruiz gets the fair catch. That's going to set up this offense at the 22-yard line.
You can see the difference in these two sidelines right now. We know Coach Keevers is trying to get his guys into it, but it's hard after 2 unsuccessful drives that give Quincy the chance to tie this ball game. All with almost 8 minutes left, so plenty of time.
Just down by 7. 8 minutes to go in the game. Quick toss, a big hit was taken by the quarterback, and Tion Harrison has an incomplete pass to his wide receiver, and Anik McKenzie, and took another big shot. It's been a theme today, a lot of big hits from these defensive lines. We'll set up 2nd and 10 from that 23.
Another theme today has been the drops by these Quincy receivers. It'd be crazy to see the scoreboard if all of those balls that should have been caught were.
Here's a handoff that goes up the middle. Give him about 4 yards. Past the 25, Lee gets it to the 27-yard line of the Hawks.
Brought down on the play by
And now Quincy no longer has to battle the clock as much. They can play their own offense. They can go at their own pace.
3rd down and 6. Looking to throw. Critical part in this drive. Goes deep, wobbly throw. It's caught. Caden, he caught it at the 30-yard line. My goodness, that was a catch. It looks like, and he's still on the ground, so it's hard to tell. It looks like Jalen Lawrence. It sure is. How about that? Jalen Lawrence gets one heck of a grab, and now a couple Greyhounds are still on the ground. Whether it was just fighting over the ball or what, but that is one heck of a reception. From the 27 of one end of the field to the 30 of the other. 43-yard catch, quick toss, slot, slant, catch for a 1st down. Harris gets it inside the red zone to Paul Sullivan Jr., a gain of 11 to 19. Hurry up offense, trying to take the lead early. Or at least tie it up. Here's a spread formation from Tion Harris. Jeremiah Lee, Tremaine Lee that is, the running back. Nice little move, but oh, how about Cavante Houston making that tackle? Brought down Marlon Washington.
Tion Harris pass. And the ball is spotted on UINDY's 11-yard line.
2nd down and 2 from the 11. Handoff up the middle. Lee breaks it for a 1st down before he's finally brought down by Mike Brown and Kiave Guerriere. He gets a 1st down, makes it 1st and goal from the 7.
Michael Brown. That's good for a 1st down, 1st and goal coming from the Hounds' 7-yard line for Quincy.
This offense flying right now. Here's a quick toss, incomplete.
Harris's pass thrown and incomplete.
This is the first chance the UINDY defense has had to really regroup themselves. The pace of this drive has been so fast, and that's something that they've been doing the entire game, but it's really starting to work for them here.
Down by 7, 6:05 to go in the game. Tion Harris, the quarterback, with his running back, and Tremaine Lee. 2 receivers to the far side, one to the near side with a tight end. Looking to throw, a lot of pressure. Intercepted, this is huge! Mike Brown at the 20. He's gonna take it. He's got one guy to beat, blockers in front of him. Mike Brown to the end zone. Instead of tying the game we just saw, Mike Brown take it 99 yards for a touchdown. And the Greyhounds hold a 2-score lead with 5:50 to go.
But there is a flag down on the field, and I think they're gonna call an illegal block in the back here.
which is still going to allow the interception to hold, which is more important. So we're probably not going to see the touchdown. Good call, as we see just a, yeah, sure enough, that's what they're going to call through all the excitement. You couldn't hear too well from the referees, but still going to set up the offense now with a 1st and 10. Now the offense has to go to work. We can't see another 3 and out from this team.
Best case scenario there for the Greyhounds. They were backed up to their own goal line, and it looked like they were going to have to give up at least 3, but that play right there gives them another life to protect their lead.
I mean, if that pass goes where it needs to be into the end zone, it's a tie game right now. So the fact that they're ahead by 7 now with the ball, under 6 to go, if they can run the ball pretty effectively here, then they can definitely salt this clock away. This is a huge drive. The running back is Jaquan Buchanan. Out of the pistol formation was Christian Conkling, the quarterback, seeing just his 2nd start of the season. He's played pretty admirably in the first half, but not as well in half number 2. Handoff goes to Buchanan. He's brought down, trying to strip the ball away was this defensive line for Quincy. And nice job by the linebacker and Peyton Plunkett to get that tackle. And it'll set up 2nd and 10 from that 47. A gain of none. You see Buchanan there trying to fill in the big shoes of Toriano Clinton. He's had himself a pretty good day. Not quite what we would be accustomed to seeing with Clinton, but for Buchanan, some career highs for him, and he's going to try to continue that. 12 carries, over 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He gets another carry here, sweep to the far side. He's showing off his speed. He does so well, and he still breaks it up, breaking tackles. This is Jaquan Buchanan, learn the name, still on his feet, inside the 5 before he's brought down from behind. Jaquan Buchanan at the 3.
I don't know about you, but I saw some glimpses of Toriano Clinton in that run, and I'm just thinking of how much of a luxury it would be to play behind a player of that caliber, and how much that adds to your skill set as a player.
We interviewed Toriano earlier in the year, and he said that sitting behind Al McKellar, who's also at the top of UINDY's record books in a few categories, really helped him a lot. And you got to imagine, if you asked Jaquan Buchanan the same question, he'd say sitting behind Toriano helped him immensely. And it almost looks like he's wearing the number 8 out there, as he had a great run. Like you said, shades of Clinton. 1st and goal from the 3. Handoff, trying to increase the score to 2 touchdowns as the pile pushes him forward. He's down at the goal line. We could wait to see an official call, but it looks like they're going to be down at the 1-foot line.
2nd and goal will be coming up. The clock continues to run.
He's the size of a fingernail from where the ball landed to where the goal line is. That's going to set up a 2nd down.
Nonetheless, the effort by the offensive line tonight has been amazing. The protection scheme's been great up until about the 4th quarter, but the run blocking's been there, and Buchanan will have a whole line to thank after the game.
Second down and goal from the 1. Buchanan stays in the game. He's having himself a very impressive day. McNeil's in motion. Buchanan probably going to get the handoff here if I were to guess. And he does. He goes forward. He's into the end zone. Touchdown number 3 of the day for the backup running back, turn starter Jaquan Buchanan. And the Greyhounds ahead 51-38, 2 scores. As you see the replay here, he just squirts forward and squeezes his way in between the tackle and the guard. My goodness, what a day number 6 has had. And it's come at the perfect time. The redshirt sophomore. Last year had 4 touchdowns over the entire year. Came into this game without a score. Today he has 3. Seymour in for the ceremonial PAT. He's been so good this year. Has yet to miss one. And he continues that streak. 52 points the offense puts up. They're averaging 37, so well over that. And this team down their top 2 starters, resilient as we see. More next here on UINDY TV.
Court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
The sophomore from North Central, 6'1", 210 safety. We're talking about Michael Brown. Leads the team in tackles, came into this game with 42 tackles. He just made his second interception of the season, and boy, is the biggest one that any Greyhound will probably have this year as he catches it on the goal line. A touchdown in that situation would have made it a tie game. Instead, he grabs it, takes it 50 yards the other way, and sets up this Greyhounds offense and eventual score from Jaquan Buchanan. He had his third rushing touchdown of the day on that drive. It went from about a foot out, and that sets up the score where it is now. An impressive day so far from both of those two gentlemen as now this Quincy offense comes out reeling. They now have just under 4 minutes to score twice. It's going to be a tough task after things look to go completely in their favor.
And just as you thought this Quincy team had turned the tide of the football game, UINDY comes back with a couple giant plays to re-seize momentum and take back the energy.
Against Missouri S&T last season, the Greyhounds on the road near St. Louis, they gave up a 28-7 lead with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. It looked like it was going to be more of that today. They were ahead 42-10 at halftime. Harris and this team came back like they just did there. Look at that impressive grab from Angel Ruiz, having himself a great day out to the 38. But it looked like this team was going to give up another huge lead, kind of like that game against Missouri S&T last season. Ahead 42-10, they watched the lead disappear, almost watched it tie, and instead it was Michael Brown who had that great play on defense. And here this time it's Galvey Guerrier to come up and make the play with Jalen Wilson. That'll be a handoff to Lee for about 4 yards and sets up second down, medium from the 42.
Kyle Borski on the defensive stop for the Hounds.
Borski in on the stop as well. Fake handoff, here's a toss, near side, caught by the wide receiver who gains about 2 yards. His name is Jalen Lawrence.
We'll most likely see this Quincy offense in a hurry-up offense for the rest of the game, but we know that they've been running that the entire game. This entire offensive unit is comfortable with that. So this pace is nothing new to them.
3rd down and 2 from the 46. Handoff, left side, lowering his shoulder, pushing forward, gaining the first down. And that's a big one. That stops the clock and now sets up the offense with a new set of downs at the 49. They'll put it down to 50.
Ball spotted at the Hawks 49.
Miles Cheatham had the rush, came into the year with 10 carries. He's had himself a pretty good afternoon. He's got 7 so far. Here's Tion Harris. Quick toss and complete, intended for Jalen Lawrence. Great defense from Cavante Houston.
Jalen Lawrence broken up on the play by Cavante Houston. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Hawks.
And aside from a couple lapses and on deep throws, the UINDY secondary has stepped up and made the tough plays when they needed to.
And suddenly this offense slowing down. They're letting more time roll off the clock. I don't like this. They need to hurry up and go quicker. They're letting valuable time slip away. Here's a big hit. Intercepted again. Cavante Houston rows the boat. As how about Aaron Barnett with a quarterback hit, and that puts Tion Harris down for the count. He's seen countless hits. That one's going to be the one to cost him as he's still on the ground. And the training staff comes out. Aaron Barnett with the hit, the interception, the 3rd one of the day. Thrown by Harris, caught by Cavante Houston. My goodness, the Greyhounds making a big play on defense.
Harris has been going at this UINDY secondary all night. But in the 4th quarter, they have stepped up when it mattered, getting 2 clutch interceptions that, I don't want to say seal the game, but put them in a really great position.
Michael Brown has 2 interceptions this game. That's the first one caught by Cavante Houston. And now Indianapolis' offense can all but just watch the clock tick away. 3 timeouts still in the pocket of head coach Gary Bass for Quincy. It'll be a handoff up the middle for quite a few yards. A nice little gain on 1st down. Gets near midfield to the 49. Jaquan Buchanan with the rush and sets up 2nd down and short.
Another big game for the Hounds.
Brought down by a combo of Lazarick Hill and Brock Inman. The Greyhounds letting every precious second tick off the clock. And Quincy's not stopping them. Ahead by 2 scores. All but salting this game away. And boy, ended up being a lot better game than we thought. Ahead 42-10 at halftime. This defense and the Quincy offense able to come back and come firing. Made it a good game. Made it a fun one to watch. As nice little teleportation forward. That should be enough for the first. If they're going to count them right, they will. Move the chains. Put it at the 49-yard line. Lenny Bennett comes in the game in relief of Buchanan, who made that great little dive.
And throughout the game, Quincy has proved that they're no pushover team. These guys have some heart, they have some skill, and if a couple balls are caught there and a couple passes and better decisions are made there, who knows, the score could be completely different.
60 seconds and dropping off the clock. The Greyhounds going to pick up a win here at home, and they're going to see another home matchup next week against Missouri S&T. Unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict, we will not be able to carry that here on UINDY TV, as we now have a first down and 10 from the 49. Handoff goes to Bennett, kicks it out wide. Hasn't had a big day today, but he gains a few on first. Get him to the 45. He steps out of bounds, so that'll stop the clock. And a reminder, we're going to hear from head coach Chris Keevers and likely running back Jaquan Buchanan here at the end of this game.
And Buchanan, he got the spotlight today with Toriano Clinton being out, and he really made the most of it. And you see a lot of Toriano in his game, and you can see how aggressive he is on the field. Being a smaller guy, he plays so big, and he's so fun to watch. He's so agile, so quick, and above all that, he's so smart, and he picks his holes right.
Coach Bass calls the timeout, but we're going to stay up here as we're in the waning moments of this game. The Greyhounds had 52-38 as what ends up being a great game in front of us here. The Greyhounds, like I mentioned, going to host Missouri S&T next week for some GLVC action. And then they're going to travel to William Jewell, the 8-hour drive out to Liberty, Missouri. The week after that, the final senior day, the final game of the year. That'll be against Truman State. That's on November 12th. We also will unfortunately not able to carry that game either here on UINDY TV. So this is the final game that we'll see of UINDY football here on UINDY TV. And with me being a senior, it's my final game that I'll be calling for the Greyhounds. It's been a pleasure. As Lenny Bennett cuts it up forward and dives about a yard shy of the line to gain. He's going to let the clock roll to 32, and that's where the clock's going to stop. Another timeout. Looked to be a bit of an injury, but getting up just fine was Quincy's linebacker Brock Inman, but that's the second timeout called by Coach Bass, and Quincy trying to hold on to whatever they have here. If they can get a stop here, suddenly there's a chance, but not a very big one. We'll see what this offense can do. For Quincy, we'll take a look at their schedule here next after you just heard what the Greyhounds are doing over the next couple of weeks. Quincy, they're going to fall to 4-4 on the year. They're going to travel back to Quincy, Illinois tonight, and then they're going to host Truman State next week. It's going to be a tough game. Truman State, second best team in the conference behind the Greyhounds, and then they will travel to Southwest Baptist University. The final game for their senior day will be the Battle of the Birds. William Jewell College going to travel out to Quincy, Illinois. The Hawks and the Cardinals for that one. So you fall to 4-4, but hope is not lost. They dropped to 1-2 in the conference. You hope that they can find some type of momentum going here into the end of the year.
And it's evident they have a lot of talent on that team, but it's all about meshing it together.
Lenny Bennett pushes forward and gets the first down. And that will let the clock roll unless Quincy decides to stop. Oh, but flags fly. Suddenly emotions get the best of these teams.
On the turf during the scrum.
We'll see what the result of the penalty here is. A first down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 76. That'll be a 15-yard penalty.
The big man getting a little upset. The right tackle, and Ryan Ritchie, the 6'4", 315-pound sophomore from O'Fallon, Illinois, near Quincy. He'll get called with that unsportsmanlike conduct. Just 24 seconds. It's going to take one play to run this off. Of course, Quincy has one more timeout. We'll see if Coach Bass decides to use it after the clock stops due to the penalty. But we're just one play away from finishing this game out.
And as we've said, this game, it looked like it was going to be one-sided for 3 quarters, and then Quincy decided to make it really interesting, but the UINDY Greyhounds stood their ground, and the score tells the story.
I mentioned our crew earlier. Of course, when our sideline reporter, Sydney Smith, we'll hear from her soon with an interview with head coach Chris Keevers and Jaquan Buchanan, the running back who had 3 touchdowns today, as victory formation is upon us. I'd also like to thank Rick Dunkel down in the control room here for Unity TV and our engineer and Tom Weber. It's been a great game, and we appreciate everyone who's contributed to this broadcast. The final one of UINDY football on UINDY TV this season, and the final time that I will watch a UINDY football game with a headset on. So thankful for the 3 years here behind the mic, and couldn't have asked for a better crew to call games with. This is the final score in front of us, 52-38. Greyhounds met with some adversity in that second half, but they're able to respond towards the end. Michael Brown, the player of the game on defense, had the game-clinching interception. Also had an interception earlier in the game to give him 2 on the day. Running back Jaquan Buchanan, 3 rushing touchdowns. Christian Conkling, 3 passing touchdowns. It's a successful day for the Indianapolis Greyhounds despite losing their top 2 players.
Hey Joe, ring the victory bell.
Caden, sum up this game in 1 sentence. I'm putting you on the spot. I know it's a tough one.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us this evening and supporting UINDY football.
If I had to sum up the game in 1 sentence, I would say, I'll say it as a question. What do you do when you're faced with adversity? UINDY came in losing 2 of their top 2 offensive players, and their defense and special teams really picked them up, giving them near perfect field position on their first 3 drives, giving them a cushion to work on for the rest of the game. And UINDY is very comfortable with playing with the lead, and Coach Keevers has a lot of experience doing so, especially this season, being as good as they are. And it showed. Their experience being in the lead really showed when it came down in the 4th quarter.
The victory bell rings as head coach Chris Keevers able to go celebrate with his team and have a meeting right around the 10-yard line. When he's done talking to the Greyhounds, he's going to come over and have an interview with UINDY TV and with Sydney Smith. Can't wait to hear that conversation. We'll also hear Jaquan Buchanan. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. Christian Conkling had 3 passing touchdowns. 2 guys that were not starters 2 weeks ago. And even for Buchanan was not even listed as a starter on the depth chart today, as the Greyhounds able to come in and really able to find success with, like you mentioned, adversity in this game, but not just this game, but the season. Losing their top 2 players, bouncing back, and those top 2 players combining for 6 touchdowns.
And that says a lot about the culture of this Greyhound squad and how close of a team they really are, as we see them praying down on the field and the coach giving their thoughts. You know, it wasn't a perfect game by any means by the Greyhounds, but they're going to go home happy.
Buchanan started the game with the first 2 rushing touchdowns on short field position. Then he caught a touchdown and then had his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day to salt it away here late. He's come in and really made his case to be the stronghold on this running back job. He can come in and get the majority of the carries late in the season. We thought we'd see a lot of Lenny Bennett, which we did. We thought we'd see some McKellen Porter, which we did, but it was just the Jaquan Buchanan show. And it was quite a show, let me tell you.
And you don't want to say it was a surprise, but it wasn't necessarily expected, at least to the scale that he performed on. He really showed out for this hometown crowd, and it was so fun to watch. It was electric.
Here in just a few moments, we will hear from Sydney Smith down on the sideline. And what was just a hard-fought win for Indianapolis. It looked like they were going to let it slip away. No, they came back and were able to come back firing in the end of the game. And now they just have a few more GLVC games. The season does not get any easier for them, right? They play a tough Missouri S&T team next week. William Jules, not quite the same caliber of teams as some of these others, but then Truman State to end the year. It's going to be a tough stretch to try to get into the playoffs, currently ranked 20. For the Greyhounds, give me a player of the game here on offense and on defense.
Well, on offense, I'm going to go with Jaquan Buchanan. If you watch the highlight tape of this game, you're not going to see many other players besides him.
Let's head down to the sideline with Sydney Smith and Jaquan Buchanan.
I'm down here at the sidelines with Jaquan Buchanan. I mean, you had a great game today, scoring 3 touchdowns for the Hounds. How do you feel becoming a new score leader after the game today?
It's a good feeling. You know, everybody worked pretty hard. Team put a lot into this, so whenever I can have success, it's always with those guys. So it was a great feeling overall.
For sure, and you definitely learn a lot from your teammates as well from doing this. So how much of a mentor is Toriano Clinton to you?
Oh, he's the greatest. You know, when you're sitting behind and watching a guy like that all the time, you can't help but learn everything all the time. So it's always great. He's always by our side teaching us and being a coach on the sideline. So it's great learning from somebody as good as that.
It's great to hear, and I'm so glad you had a great game today, and congratulations on all those touchdowns.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coach Chris Keevers.
We are
back
joined
down the
here
sideline.
with Coach Chris Keevers. The Hounds had a rough fourth quarter, but we're still able to pull off that victory. So how are you feeling in this moment?
You know, it's fun to win. I love our kids. Our kids stayed with it. They fought their tails off. They could have laid down. It was looking bad. But they came back, 2 big turnovers, and then the offense runs down, takes it down and gets scores and put the game away. Really great job by our kids. We got great people here. They play hard. They stick together. They were not going to lose that game.
That's so good to hear, especially after last week. So how do you think you are going to take this game into consideration when preparing for the game next week against Missouri S&T?
You always fix problems. You fix problems. You see problems and you fix them. That's what we do. It's our job. So, you know, we're going to fix the things we need to fix, but we got great character. We've got great effort, and we finish ball games. And when you do that, you're going to win a lot of ball games. So we'll keep getting better.
That is absolutely true. Thank you so much, Coach, and thank you so much for joining us here at UINDY TV. I'm Sydney Smith reporting live from Key Stadium to the booth with Nathaniel and Caden.
Thank you, Sydney. We appreciate that sideline report, and we definitely appreciate Buchanan and Coach Keevers for stopping by for those quick interviews, and Sydney did such a great job down on the sideline with that. You just heard from our sideline reporter, Sydney Smith. Next to me is our color commentator and Caden Colford. The final score today, 52-38. The Greyhounds move to 6-1 on the season. Quincy falls to 4-4. It has been an absolute pleasure watching this Greyhounds football team and broadcasting from this very booth at Key Stadium, Kiesel Field for the last 3 years. But for one final time, signing off, I'm Nathaniel Finch.